Hey everybody, I'm Alec Hanson, and I'm here in beautiful New York City.
No, you're not.
About to spend the day with mortgage superstar David Rodriquez. We're going to be giving him a marketing makeover.
How about you point the camera to the real talent? I came to California for airline miles. Let's go. Come on.
Let's just roll it.
Look like it's time to rise and get in the game. Gonna change some branding, not afraid to fly. I can't even wait to finally touch down with the camera click. Let's light up that stage. Time to start your brand new golden age. It's your time to shine. Cameras on you. Brand new.
You did it. You flew across the freaking country to come hang out.
I did.
I'm very appreciative. It makes my life a lot easier, so thank you.
No problem.
So we're going to sit down in this first segment. It's called Brand You.
Okay.
And the reason that we center this first, like before we get into filming and before we get into content and writing and scripts and all this stuff, there's a very important exercise we have to go through, which is we have to understand who David is.
Got it.
It's like an onion. There's like layers of goodness here.
So lots of crying.
Yeah, we're gonna.
All right.
So, and depending on where you want to take this, we're gonna ask a series of questions. I'm just gonna start just asking questions, and some will be really easy, and some will be like, "Don't ask me that," and I'll be like, "Okay, good to know." And so we're gonna just kind of go. But the whole point of it is to allow you to continue to bring to the forefront what you're comfortable bringing to the forefront. Here's what I mean. Branding, personal branding, is really about becoming the truest version of your authentic self to your community.
Okay.
So walk me so hear me out on this. People form relationships with people they like, know, and trust.
Yep.
That's kind of the backbone of our business, is having these relationships that people like, know, and trust us. And yet I find as salespeople, we tend to chameleon, mirror, hide, posture, pose, all those things in order to show up the way we think we need to show up. And in turn, we limit the amount of human connection we're actually capable of getting because we're not being really our true self.
Yeah.
Now, underneath that, tons of issues, meaning people are afraid of their true self. People are insecure about their true self. People think if people really knew who I was, they'd never talk to me.
They're gonna run.
They're gonna run away. And I want to be fair. There's a layer of this that's like, sure, this can be private home stuff and like doesn't need to be shared. But like the more you can like become the real David, and by the way, so you're very far ahead of this. I've seen your content.
Okay.
I've watched your videos, and you're you. Like you are you. So some of this will probably be pretty natural and easy to get into. But the reason we come back to this is when we start to write content, when we start to put the camera on and ask you to read, recite, perform something for somebody else, if it's a show, if it's a caricature, you're going to miss out on the realness of the opportunity. Does that make sense?
I totally get that.
Yeah. So we got to kind of have like a foundational like agreement of, and my pen is gone. Someone get me a pen. Nope, found it. Don't worry, keep it in. Leave it in. So let's just start with the first question.
Okay.
How'd you get into mortgage?
By accident. So
That's pretty much everybody's like.
Background, I studied finance. I interned in private banking on Wall Street. And
Where'd you study finance?
University of Texas.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm born and raised Texas. My parents are immigrants.
Okay.
From Cuba and Colombia. And interned in New York. And my cousin's husband at the time had a mortgage company. And I was going to go package and securitize mortgages for him. And this was 2007.
Awesome.
Great year to enter mortgages.
This is the best. Good. Your
Perfect.
timing's amazing.
Yep.
Okay.
So that was the background.
And when you were you packaging mortgages in 2007?
No. So I ended up doing wholesale. Right?
Okay.
So I entered wholesale, and then that went belly up.
Great.
And then I had nothing to do. I couldn't go into private banking back, right?
Yeah.
Because it was now 2008-9.
Yeah.
And so I started as an assistant to a high net worth originator in the Hamptons.
Okay.
So one of the first deals I did was like a $9 million carriage house refi, which was pretty fun. And then they realized, what the heck are you doing in the Hamptons? They brought me back to the city, to New York City, and I started working for 3 top originators there as an assistant.
Okay.
So this was like, 2009, 10 or whatever.
Did you like the business at that point? Were you like, this is fun? How are you experiencing mortgage at that point?
This is gonna sound sassy, but I was like, how the hell do these people get paid so much? And they don't know it, because I come from like the private banking background, like
these are all idiots.
Boss, out from your, out after your boss, like the intense, work culture, and like, even down to like, I remember being as an intern, like you could not lift your fingers off the keyboard. You had to know how to do everything without a mouse, right? And so like it was just like ingrained in my intensity. And then finally in 2012, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna get licensed.
Yeah.
And I asked the owner of the company.
But like, hold on, like screw it because I'm smarter than these people.
Yeah, I was making no money.
Yeah.
Or as an assistant.
Yeah, yeah.
They were paying me nothing, and I was speaking to the clients, doing all the transactions, structuring. At the time, New York City had a big problem with getting condo financing.
Yeah.
So I was like checking all sorts of like public record, finding out who had lent, and it's like I was going above and beyond, like always. And then I was like, screw this. Why am I making everybody else money? And I'm gonna do this on my own. And so I asked to be licensed. And the owner at that time said, I'm not paying for it. And I said, great, here's my 2 weeks.
Solid.
I was like, peace.
Just laid it down.
Yep. And I reached out to somebody on LinkedIn. And I was like, hey, I'm plug and play. I want to work not by myself. I want to work for a top team. And diversity is big.
Yeah.
And he met me literally 2 years. Like, I'm coming in on a plane. Met 2 hours later. It was like an insane story. And next thing you know, he's like, I have a perfect team for you. The head's also part of the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
And he was the top producer at the bank at the time.
Okay.
And I came in and I was a junior banker, just like that.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid. There's a story there. We'll get that.
And then 2 years later, he left. And the bank looked at me and said, we had all these marketing service agreements with real estate firms. They looked at me and said, all right, your boss is gone. You have a huge book that you can manage here. Here's an assistant. You're required to produce $75 million this year. Good luck, and as they say in Drag Race, good luck, and don't fuck it up.
How did you deal with somebody saying you're required to produce $75 million this year? Like, were you like, no problem, or were you like, oh, gotta go get to work?
Again, like, don't lift your hands from the keyboard. Get your ass to work.
Yeah.
And make it happen.
Yeah.
So, and also like we know banking, like. If you miss a target, like everybody misses, like here and there. So like it's just show what the hell you're doing.
Yep.
And it'll get there. And at the end of the day, it's just a numbers game, right? So like I have to know, okay, if I need to hit 75 million, I'm producing this size average loan. I have to get this many referrals.
Yep.
So that means I got to be in front of 25 agents a week, whatever it is, and continue.
Yep.
So it was a lot of taking people, like the marketing activity had to be so scheduled. I had to have at least 5 marketing activities a week. I had to speak to 20 people, minimum of 20 introductions a week from agents.
Do you like the rigidity? Do you like that in your work life?
So if you do not give me parameters, I will talk your ear off. I will just dilly-dally. I need a little structure as much as I hate structure. And so a lot of my practice right now is monitoring weekly how many people I'm speaking to.
Yeah.
A lot. I need it.
Okay.
Or I need people to help me with it.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to put it around yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So, fast forward. It sounded a little bit like you fell into the industry, like a lot of us do.
Yep.
Realized there was a lot of economic opportunity.
Yep.
A lot of, but that to me is like the shiny object that kind of dulls, because then you're in the grind.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, oh my God, is this worth it? So what keeps you in the game after that kind of tarnish wears off and you're kind of like, oh, it's actually hard work?
So I will tell you point blank, and I tell my clients, it's like, mortgage is boring as hell to me. Like, and it's not that hard. Read the guidelines, understand it, and like, that's what makes a good originator an originator. Like, you just need to know your guidelines. Right?
Yep.
So I study that all the time. I'm always studying. But that's not fun. And also, telling a client the same thing over and over 20 times a week
repetition
is not fun. But what is fun is, for me, it's about, like, I love personal connection, right? I love talking. Like, the thing that COVID killed with my vibe is I no longer get to see people like I used to. Like, I feed off energy. If there's 20 people in a room, you will see me light up. If there's 2 people in a room, they better bring it. And if they're boring, I'm out, right? So for me, it's about the connection with people.
Yeah.
And then number one to me is business development. I could go sell widgets, but I love seeing a business grow. And so where I have really put my focus on for the last 10 years is actually working with junior real estate agents that work for big teams.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I like seeing that because the lifeline of those junior agents tends to be 6 to 12 months. And when they spin off, they have nowhere to go. And I've already been coaching them, giving them a ton of training on product knowledge, how to structure deals, especially in New York, everything's so complicated, right?
Yeah.
And then when I get to see them start growing their practice and doing the same things that we do, like if I know I want to make this, I got to produce this. I do the same exercise with them, and getting to see their business grow and just that whole like vibe of how are we going to develop this out together. That to me is the exciting part. So business development's my number one.
Yeah.
When you look at kind of like my background, why I've loved kind of where I'm at.
And keeps you in the game, keeps
Yeah,
you excited
exactly.
and interested, even though the repetition and other stuff builds up.
Yeah, and when I came from the big banks to Loan Depot, the exciting part, the shiny object was there's so many more products here.
Right.
And so every time there's a new product coming out, I'm sitting there studying and reading because
Yeah.
it's exciting, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's what can I do to produce? How can we, partner with other people? What can we do, right? To grow everyone's just position in what they do.
Okay, cool. Let's go a little bit of another angle here for a little bit. This is kind of an interesting one. So clearly, you work with a lot of people that you made relationships with, that you have trust in these partners, et cetera. If I were to poll them, get them in a room, ask them, and they had to answer this question truthfully and honestly, and I said, hey, give me 3 to 5 words to describe David. Personally or professionally, like just, you know him, you work with him, so we'll probably have more of a slant towards professional. But I know I can already tell like you get personal with your partners.
Yeah.
Probably pretty quick. So what are the words you hope they say? Not the ones they're gonna say.
Yeah,
But that
yeah.
you would be like aspirationally like I would want them to say this.
Energetic.
Okay.
I don't know, like a connector.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I think the other one is like, I'm just over the top.
Extra.
Extra, correct.
Any more?
Worldly, I love everything about like, and that's not a good one for business, but it's more
No,
like
that's okay, I'll take
they
it.
know about me and like I love to travel and
Yeah.
I'm a big nerd about that.
Yeah.
So,
What are some words they'd say about you, like how you handle the clients? Like what professionally, what terms would they use?
I'm very detailed.
Yeah.
So I have like a 5-step thing that I go through with every client.
Yep.
I'm sassy. I will put you in your place.
Well, you know what? That's not a bad thing. I mean, honestly, like a client's coming to get something from
Yeah.
you, and so sometimes you have to lead them through it.
Correct.
And yeah, it can be termed sassy and putting them in their place, but it also could be like, hey, please listen to me and do what I'm telling you
Yeah.
to do, because this is going to get you what you want.
Exactly.
So I'm with you. Anything else?
And I'll just say like loyal. Like
Yeah, I
have
like
a
that.
lot of loyalty with the people that I work with, and it gets personal.
Yeah.
So like when I have someone calling and they're freaking out, like I will pull them to the side and be like, "What's really happening?
Sure.
I want to know." Because if I know that somebody has a problem because their kids are like about to finish school or they're
Yeah.
moving or whatever, I can say, "Let me take this off your plate, and I know you need communication XYZ many times a day. I'll get it for you. Just let's figure this out." And so again, it's back to the people perspective.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about your friends. I assume you have them. I assume you have a lot of them. Anyone want to guess how many friends David has compared to me? So, is that a no? Great. What words would they use to describe you?
Again, extra.
Sure. I'm sure there's crossover because
Yep.
I know how you blend.
I'm really good at, as much as I like loop back with my agents, I will say with my friends, like it's like having I'm not going to call it a business relationship, but it's really important to touch base with people, right? And so if I haven't heard from someone, I will shoot them a message, or my favorite is to shoot I'll be walking down, like if you watch any of my content, I'm always with an iced coffee, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like become it's like my emotional support iced coffee.
Yes, it's awesome.
And so I'll be walking down the street and I'll like pull up my phone and be like, hey girl, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
I haven't heard from you. Like,
It's awesome.
what's up? And so I'm big on touching base.
Yep.
And one thing with my friends, I bring people together.
What do you mean by that?
I love seeing everyone in a room, or like life's so busy, everyone's so doing a million things, and I'm lucky to have really, really successful friends. But getting them together is like a challenge because
Sure.
everyone has too much to do. And so
Yeah.
creating just the dumbest little thing for us to do to come together, I like to bring people together.
Yeah,
So.
I like that. That's good. What do you value about that? Let's we're going to keep pivoting here a little bit and talk about values. And some of your values come out in how you interact with others, but it's specifically around bringing people together as a starting point. Like, what do you value about that? Why is that important to you?
To me, it's like, some people value like money.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I value like energy and relationships and seeing people thrive. And when I'm in a room, like I think about like if I'm in a room with all my friends and I look back and see them all kind of talking to each other, I'm like it's so cool to see this like cosmos of people just coming, like excelling, and
Yeah.
I take pride in that. I love seeing people excel. It's like a weird, I don't know.
It is weird. Well, so, and this is hard to answer. So but I'm going to pick
Yeah.
on it for a minute. So obviously you get a lot of personal joy from it.
Yeah.
But what, like, in your mind, do you have any indication of why? Like you said, people love money. Well, why? Well, sometimes
Yeah.
maybe they didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And so that they're obsessed with it. But in this situation with people and connection and all this stuff, like, what's your take on why that's important to you?
I feel like I get paid in laughter. If I can look around a room and like see these people just like take a break from whatever they're dealing with in their everyday life, and it's because, we all want to have good people around, right?
Yeah.
Like the only reason
Yeah.
I came here is because of you. If like it would have been some like boring ass interview, I'd be like, I'm out, right? Like, no offense, but
Good. Okay, so what are the other things besides the interconnection? I like paid and laughter. That's good. That's a good line. What else do you value? What else do you think is important to you? Business, professionally, personally, what's important?
Obviously family. Like I grew up with a very Latin-based, dramatic family, and I love that. And I will say,
How big's your family?
not huge. I've just one sister, but
Yeah.
she's like the best.
Yeah.
And she's a strong power woman, like 10 years older than me. So I won't say my age because she'll kill me. But she's a beast. And so to follow those footsteps, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. And I feel bad for my parents because like she's even more wild than I am. And so the fact that they had two of us, like,
Wow.
like it sucks. The other thing is I will say, and the word I keep forgetting to kind of say here, I'm very much, and like when I talked about stepping back for a second
Yeah.
and watching the room, I like to provide. And that could be like in any concept you can imagine. So whether it's providing a space for people to feel comfortable, whether it's providing a fun event or something unique, right? I'm a provider, and I take so much joy in that. So if I can like take a second to bring people together and just, have a moment, like that to me is great. And like with my family, like one of my biggest, I'll say, the best thing I ever did with my family, like my dad's 80th birthday, we like all flew to Barcelona.
Really?
And I had like racked up miles and points. I
Yeah.
was like one of those idiots. I was like, hey, I need to do a mile run. And my partner was like, where are you going? I was like, Tel Aviv. He's like, what the hell's the matter with you? Like, I was like, but I got all the points together and we all flew first class. And to see like my little nephews having ice cream sundaes
Yeah.
with their 80-year-old grandfather on a plane, I was like, my parents who came from Cuba and Colombia with nothing, I was like, this is awesome, right? And it didn't take a ton of money. It took a lot of strategy. And that was fun.
With your parents coming from Cuba and Colombia, do you know how they met?
Yeah. They worked, so they lived in New York, and they worked in the same building. And my dad was like, would see my mom walking and whatever. And
Yeah.
And they like dated a long time, and then they broke up. My dad moved to California, and then he was back in New York to like do something for work or whatever. And they like met in like a meet cute. in the middle of the street on a crosswalk. It was like very romantic and poetic.
Like just
right?
walk-
That
like-
was it, right?
Destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, and now in our lives, we're like, hey, I met on a swipe.
Yeah, it's
you know,
brutal.
like,
It's brutal.
It was a swipe,
Yeah,
you know, going
of
through a
destiny.
crosswalk, and I almost got hit by a cab. Like, that's what.
So you said that you were raised pretty modestly?
Yeah, like, you know, Latin families are conservative, and
Sure.
I'm not. And so,
But
Yeah.
what does conservative mean?
in every aspect, like, you're supposed to do this by this time. You're supposed to have a career. You're supposed to have education. Like all that.
The
you know,
blueprint life. Yeah.
Yeah, pardon me, like the bullshit.
Yeah,
right?
I'm there.
And same thing, like even when I went to school, like they weren't crazy about like me having to like have crazy grades, whatever. But like I took that kind of upbringing and then I took it to my school and I was like, I got to get the best internship. I got to do all this.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like when I realized like how I got all that, it wasn't because of my grades. Like I'm not a great student.
Yeah.
It's because I talk everyone's fucking ear off, you know. And I made good connections, and that's how I would fly to New York and have coffee with people that I knew were going to interview me.
Yeah.
That's how I got those jobs.
Yeah.
Like that's how I've always been.
Yeah.
I always take the other way.
So you've got that. So from values, just to recap a little bit, you've got this human connection thing that you value, bringing people together. You've got family that you value.
Yep.
You've got this desire to provide.
Yep.
That's kind of ingrained. Any other things stand out to you that are really important to you?
My partner Corey's like my rock, right? I feel bad for him that he's had to experience the last few years of mortgage. 'Cause
Seriously.
it's been a freaking roller coaster.
It's been bizarre.
right?
Yeah.
He is like, there's not enough Lexapro to fix you, right? However, he puts up with my shit.
Yeah.
And I think like that's important when I talk about like providing. It's also having somebody that being vulnerable to let somebody also help you,
Yeah.
which is why I'm here today.
Yeah. That's good. Vulnerable is important. Vulnerable is how you lead.
But he's amazing and like getting to see what our life can be. And I'm not talking monetarily, but getting to like share. He thinks I'm out of my mind, and he's right. But the fact that he like holds on for dear life, I'm like, thank you, because he just kind of lets me run. And that's not for everyone. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so Dave, we're going to go real big now.
Let's go.
Real big. And this is extremely difficult, and in the sense that I don't think people should necessarily have an answer yet, potentially. So that's an okay thing too, which is like I'm figuring that out. But let's talk legacy, and let's talk like zoom forward, and really take a long view of life in the world, and picture yourself end of your career, and whether you're retiring or whether you're just taking a different route or doing something else, or I hesitate to say like end of life stuff because that's really heavy, but like legacy stuff. What do you want people to look back and say about you?
I keep going back to like business development. I don't know why, but I want to create something bigger than me.
What does that mean?
I know I do mortgage for a living, right?
Yeah.
But at some point, this will turn into an opportunity to do something bigger. I want to not necessarily have my own company, but like I want to be a part of something that's just bigger, and that's the legacy. And I don't even like that word legacy.
Sure, pick a word you like.
I don't need that, right? But I want people to look back and be like, this crazy person just always wanted bigger than life. And when I, even now, like in our everyday life, when I complain about something, it's not complaining about one little thing. It's because I know that we can do something better to make it bigger than life. And so I want, career-wise, to have something huge. I'm not complacent. Like a lot of people are like, and I think it's great. Like you have your family, you chill, and I'm like, okay, let's keep going.
What drives you to want that?
I think there's a lot like writing on the sense of like the way I grew up and seeing like how can one generation, like from where my parents started, like they did great, right? Like,
Yeah.
Came from nothing. Look at their kids; they're wild. Maybe not as like. Don't call as much, but yeah, they should.
Understand.
But I also look at, I've had an opportunity, like I always have doors open. Like I think about, who if I were to be me 40 years ago, I couldn't be myself.
True.
Right? So who I am today, I'm like, if I just sit back and like coast, like I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like I want to be bigger so that the next round and generation of people and, you know, that they get to take advantage of some of the doors that I'm going to open for them.
Yeah.
It's very broad,
It's good.
but that's what I think about.
Okay. Let me, I'm gonna walk you through a model right now. And the intent of taking you through this, which they'll use movie magic to show everyone else what we're looking at, is to get you thinking about brand positioning, because at the end of the day, we have to try our best to distill down the things that are important to you into something that can be messageable.
Okay.
And that's hard because you're a multifaceted person.
Yeah. And I just gave you every broad stroke
Everything,
possible.
which is perfect. But think about this for a second. Like, if someone's going to come to you professionally, the first thing they're probably going to start to try to understand is, can you help me solve my problem?
Correct.
And then through that, they're going to be kind of looking for things like, are you trustworthy and are you reliable and like, do you have the resources?
Yep.
And then it kind of lands on like, do I like you?
Yeah.
You know, kind of like, you know, are you a good person and all that stuff.
And the other thing too is approachability. I feel like that's a lot of people in our industry, they get so big or they are too smart to like articulate things that you cannot approach them. And so that's something in every day that I'm like, I have to make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm approachable. Like the biggest thing after COVID, I stopped wearing a suit because I wasn't approachable.
Yeah.
Right? And I couldn't fit in it. But like, it's fine.
No,
So,
we don't talk about that. So let me give you some examples of what brands do. Now, before we really get into this, you're not a corporate brand, and that's something that people that are building personal brands have to deal with. You're a rounded human being that has multiple facets to you.
Not that rounded.
Well, stop. Yes. Rounds of shape. And because of that, I don't want people to get pigeonholed into, I have to make myself into a corporate brand and be so one-dimensional. A lot of corporate brands are very one-dimensional because they're like, we do this.
Yeah.
Whereas humans are like, well, I enjoy like all these things. And so, you know, but as you kind of distill this down, did you ever go through the old exercise of like, what's your unique value proposition? And have to like distill down like why someone would work with you in like one sentence? Did you ever do that? Because that's a very like early 2000s, 90s sales thing.
And you have to remember, I came from the big banks, which you do not have an identity.
Yeah, you are not unique. Well, so let me show you this and give you an example. So here, this brand archetypes by Iconic Fox does a good job just helping us start to frame different concepts. And so if you look at the outlaw brands, okay, these brands rules are made to be broken.
Yep.
They are disruptive, rebellious, combative. You don't have to settle for status quo. First, demand more, go out and get it. And then you look at brands like Harley Davidson, and you're like, okay, yeah, you can kind of see the guy on the bike in the desert, you know, out there being like, you know, fuck the rules, and I write the rules, and living their own life. Magician brands. It can happen. Mystical, informed, reassuring. Tomorrow is brighter than today, and all of your dreams can come true.
Yep.
And obviously you have Coca-Cola, Disney, you know, very much like imaginative, fun.
Yep.
Hero brands. Mastery. There's a will, there's a way. Honest, candid, brave. Nike to me is the iconic, like, just do it hero brand.
Yep. Agreed.
Lover, intimacy, you know, sensual, empathetic, soothing. Victoria's Secret, Chanel. Doesn't transfer a ton into sales and what we do.
Yeah.
But like you can see where like you can see people who have this natural outflow who are just like genuine and kind of like a little bit
caring.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is a little more sensual than caring, but yes, we'll get there. Because let's just jump right there. The caregiver.
Yep.
So these are caring, warm, reassuring. Everyone deserves care, and we must all strive to bestow service upon one another. Love your neighbor as yourself. And then you get like Toms and these brands that are out there like, you know, buy shoes and we give shoes to people that don't have shoes, and like, you know, that's kind of the caregiver. The ruler, interesting one. Power isn't everything, it's the only thing. But underneath that, the sub areas that look less threatening are like commanding, refined, articulate.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Rolex and Mercedes and Louis, like those are brands that are like a little elitist. Like you have to, you know, we're not for everybody.
Yeah.
But there might be a version of ruler in you, because you mentioned sassy a few times, where it's like, no, I take control of the situation, and when things are out of whack, I come in and provide stability.
Correct.
That's a ruler.
And it's also like, I kind of resonate. Just one thing that I think about that is like, what they are providing is so high level, it's so beyond what the rest of the market's doing around them, that you're going to get a phenomenal product.
That's right. So that's what they say, right? Like, hey, look, if you're going to have a Rolex, you got to be a certain level of like class to get a Rolex.
Yeah.
And so when you go into if you're buying one, you expect to have a certain level of. So if you're working with somebody who's a ruler, you're going to expect to get a certain level of competency. The everyman, belonging. You're just like me. I'm just like you. Friendly, humble, authentic. This is like Jim from The Office. Like this is just like Target, IKEA brands.
Yeah.
But these are approachable brands.
Yeah.
Like whereas like from the ruler, where it's like can't even walk in a Rolex store.
Yeah.
Versus I can go into Target. So it's just a concept.
Wait, your Target over here? Totally offline.
My wife is Target all day long.
It is like palm trees and gorgeous. I was like, this is beautiful.
It's beautiful. Gesture brands.
Okay.
Fun, playful, optimistic. We're here for a short time, not for a long time. And
love that saying.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And you can see like there are, and I want to make a call out when I talk about the gesture a little bit, because obviously we're in mortgage financing that has a general undertone of like a little seriousness. Like we're doing something that matters. You're getting a loan. It's kind of boring. It's number centric. But can you have fun in that process? And can you have fun while taking this seriously? Like this isn't a joke. This process isn't a joke. But we can still like realize this is stupid because I need the blank page of your stupid bank statements.
Yeah.
So just sharing kind of ways this comes in. The creator, if it can be imagined, it can be created. I see a lot of creators that work with first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Because it's very like inspirational, daring, like you can do this, I can help you do this. The innocent brand doesn't translate great to sales, but again, life is simple, simplicity is elegant, honest, humble, optimistic. The sage comes in a lot in lending or in financial services.
Okay.
These are knowledgeable, assured. These are the guides, the mentors. These are the you don't know what you're doing. I do.
Yep.
I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let me show you how to use the Force.
Yep, that resonates.
So education's the path to wisdom. And then you have explorer brands. Don't fence me in. Freedom, Jeep, Patagonia. You only get one life. Get out and make it count. Exciting, fearless, daring. So I share all these because they can help people generally start to see themselves in different areas in these, because again, we're multifaceted. So in these, which did you kind of see a piece of yourself in? Just out of curiosity.
A lot of it's the ruler.
Yeah.
Right.
What part of the ruler?
Because I'm in a crazy market like New York City, which you do have to be, you have to have made it to accomplish a purchase there. I hate to say
that's a real thing.
it's a thing.
You can't just walk into New York as hard as first-time home buyer.
Correct.
Go buy in New York.
Right. Like someone called me and they're like, I want to buy a $3 million place with 5% down. I was like, that's cute, right? Like, nobody's gonna accept your offer, right? So for me, the ruler says like, you've made it. Guess what? This is what I do. I'm gonna guide you through it, and you're gonna get the best outcome because I know this better than everybody else.
Yep.
And that's kind of that same thing.
Any other ones stood out to you a little bit?
I mean, there's a little bit of the outlaw in the sense of like, a person doesn't feel like they can do it. I'm like, let's fuck it up. You're gonna do this. I got you. Come on, let's go. Right? The magician. Well, we've pulled many rabbits out of our hats. Again, the most complex market in the country.
Yep.
Especially with condos and co-ops. Like that is, I am an absolute magician.
Yep.
I will say the sage. I've been asked to do a lot of panels now.
Yeah.
I've been asked to do a lot of podcasts, crazy amount of presentations every month.
Yeah.
And I like that piece of me. It makes me feel like I'm getting old because I know so much about the industry.
Yes.
However, I do like the fact that I can teach people, and that makes me excited. And then when I teach mortgage as well, I think about the explorer because I'm always like, I not only want to train you for this mortgage that you're buying, but I hope you get so excited about real estate you're going to want to buy something else. So when I'm giving numbers, I'm like, here's a little preview of what the numbers will look like when you buy that investment property or that house in the Hamptons or et cetera, right?
Yeah.
Or a place for your elderly parents, whatever.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the things that come up. But you're right, it's very much a mix.
Yeah, and as it should be.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you're not a simplistic, Nike brand that wants to sell shoes. You're trying to do a lot of things as a human.
I want to be the innocent, so I could look like that picture that's like this.
Sorry about
but
that.
We're not innocent.
We're not. That's not that. Okay, so
This is great.
yeah, it's cool. I'll send you this link. You can kind of play around with it. It's fun. When I was introduced to it, I was like, this got me thinking.
Yeah.
And opened up some new ideas. All right. So, final part of this whole thing is to try to tie this together into some kind of definition.
Okay.
Which, again, humans, we're not easily defined. That's not reasonable. But we're gonna do our best on this. So, let me share with you some of the things you've said. Just kind of get your mind in the right place. First, from like a aspirational perspective, clearly there's something in you that wants to, create something bigger than yourself. That wants to do that with other people, though, also.
Correct.
And that line of the crazy person that always made life bigger than life is good, because aspirationally it's like I can see it tied into you. But there's also strong ties and roots into how you were raised, into your family, into connection with your sister, into connection with other people. And so I think there's some other interesting things in here about loyalty with you. I think that you're probably a pretty loyal person.
Yep.
Even to people that might not treat you very well. So I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll see if that's in there. But the leadership part, like the sassy, the extra part, which I think is just leadership. If I know it's but if you're somebody out there who's bringing people together with intention, you're leading. You're bringing people together, and you're honoring that all they can do and who they are, and then you're celebrating that and connecting everybody together. I mean, that's a very powerful character trait. And so, in all that, if we had to distill down why would people work with you and what you bring to the table, what would you say?
One word?
No.
Oh.
And this can be extremely consciousness. You can kind of just say things that come out, and we'll kind of, but like,
what is, I think about like how I practice is like, I am the one person that will give you the most amount of education, communication, and transparency through the process, which all sounds great. But when I say it, I am going to deliver it in a way that you can understand it. And there's no way for me to add there, like, and make you laugh a little bit, tell you some jokes.
No, there is. There actually absolutely is. Because
I do mortgages, right? So like, there's not a lot that they think is going to be fun about the call, but I always have like little bits for them. Yeah.
So, I like that. That is uniquely David. You're
You want to hear my favorite bit?
Yes.
So when I pull credit, if there's two people on the loan, whoever has the higher credit score, I'm like, all right, I do mortgages for a living, so I got to create drama in the household. Whoever has the higher credit score pays for dinner that night. I mean, come on, look what we do, right?
Look what we do.
I'm like, I just want to see I want to see it pop off. They're already nervous.
So there by nature, David, there is a little bit of the jester in you, in that like you live life fully. You're out there to live it. But that doesn't mean you're there to like be super serious all the time. Mm-hmm. Clearly, you're driven to achieve and have some accomplishments and to make something bigger. But you also don't take your life super seriously. Some of that could be a little bit of a defense mechanism. But you're also like a fun-loving person in general. I bet when the cameras are off and you're with your besties and you're hanging out, I guarantee you that you're authentically you. Like there's probably no barrier there. Is that probably accurate?
That's why I'm kind of laughing.
Yeah, because your friends would say the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, so in this exercise, I'm going to make some more notes. And what we're going to do with this is when we start to get into content strategy and into tone and into style. We're going to come back to this. And this is you're a little bit of an unfair advantage. So for people that are watching and are trying to like come along on the journey and do this with themselves, the problem you're going to see with David is when he gets on camera, a lot of this stuff already naturally starts to express. Like it'd be hysterical if you got on camera and you were super like Stonewall and very much like, let me tell you about like, but you're not like that already. So you're already broken through some of that stuff, which is great. But we're going to make sure we always come back to this of what's important to you and what do you value, because where people get in a trap, and you can watch it in their own content, is when they think they should be saying certain things because others are.
Yeah.
Or it's, or that's what's going viral, and so they put the mask on and they try to be somebody else because that's what they think they should be doing, or that's what they see another super successful person in mortgage doing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that's not them anymore.
Yeah.
And they've lost their authentic voice, and they're like, well, I have to do a script this way because that's what this guy told me and that's what's going viral. And I'm like, you've already lost.
Yeah, you're right.
The opportunity isn't in going viral, it's making real connection with real people. And you can only do that by being yourself.
That's scary. For the audience, I'm saying. No.
I think so. I think the other thing of it, though, is that it's liberating.
Right.
Because the scary part, so you've done loans long enough, and so I know this personally from doing loans for a long time. How many times have you worked with a client that was a nightmare?
Every day.
Yes.
I live in New York.
And stop it. But have you worked with clients that were delightful?
Every day. You get good people.
There are good people out there.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the goal for any originator, whether they're growing a team or expanding their business, is to work with people that appreciate you for what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the golden egg. It's like somebody who calls you and is like, just thank you, David, like just for working with me. Like, this has been awesome. And where everything lines up. And probably the goal is to avoid working with the people where everything doesn't line up and it just is constant friction and constant pain. And look, a lot of us as salespeople will do it. We'll suck it up.
Especially right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I'll take a loan.
You can't say no, right?
I'm not a problem. But I think that's not nirvana. The end goal is how do we really get to the clients and the partners that value us for what we bring, that we don't have to mask and mirror, that we don't have to, cringe every time they call, and that, can we make, like, that's where we want to go. And the more we focus on that from who you are, the more that attracts those people in.
Agreed. Okay.
All right?
I'm in.
All right. Brand new's done. Next segment.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Okay. Phase 2.
Let's do it.
This is our social media audit.
Okay.
But what this really is a brand audit, because the number one place people are going to go to look you up and to get to know you is probably the internet.
Yep.
So customers are referred to you, people are talking to you, they're going to go see what they're going to see. So the first thing we have to do is we have to try to understand, are the things that you value, are the things that make you you, are the things that you hold important on how you run your business, on what people can expect from you, on how you communicate, and all those things, does that translate into the things people see when they look your brand up?
Very nervous about this.
It's going to be great. So we got to start with the best social media platform of all time, which is Google, and we're just going to Google David Rodriquez. This is fantastic because David Rodriquez, apparently there's more than just you in the world named David Rodriquez, which is going to be your cross to bear because this is like a fight for attention, right?
Yeah.
So somebody looks you up, and you made this great comment, I want to do big things in life. Well,
I have. I'm a general.
You've died. You've come back.
I lost my hair.
You're a producer, director, and you're now back. You're a doctor, a lawyer, you're an artist. I mean, you're everything. So this is an interesting. So let's add mortgage on the end of this. Like let's try to find. Oh, okay. Found some things, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to open these up. We don't know what this is. We've never done this. Here we go. Let's see who this is. Do you have a broker in LA who's coming for your space? Okay. So, okay. Does he have any good reviews? I mean, I don't know. Is it old? Okay. Let's get rid of that. You got this another Instagram that I know is not yours.
Correct.
Another lender, PRMG, right?
I like the Porsche Turbo. That's cute.
Yep. He's flexing on everybody.
Yeah.
So you got him out in the world. Here's mortgage broker David. I think this is the same. Oh, another David. Yep. Oh. He's another broker in LA. So you've got some competition to figure out how to own your space, right? Even in the mortgage space alone, let alone just the other space. Yep. Here's the other same guy, Florida. So you got Florida, LA. You got some competition. But I did end up finding you, and so let's start looking at you. So here's your business page on Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. Here's your personal page on Facebook. Let's just look at this. I can't click it. Darn it. Here, hold on.
I'm cute.
Yeah, we're coming in. We're coming in. Look at this guy. God, good looking. Good looking. We've got your professional page, right? Got you here.
Yep.
We got your Instagram. Great. And nothing on TikTok?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet on TikTok. Great. And then I assume we didn't talk about this, but no Twitter, X?
No.
Okay. So let's first just kind of come back here and just go, what's your personal take on social media? Like, how do you feel about it? How does it integrate to your business? Like, how do you, let's start there.
I'm a huge fan of Instagram. And the way I've been using Instagram at the moment is to be in front of my agents.
Great.
Right? So all my real estate agents are on Instagram. They're posting every day. They're on it at all hours. And it's a great way for me to get engagement with them.
Great.
Is to post on Instagram. So I've been using I'm not against social media. I've been using social media at the moment as like a 1 out of 10. And that's only to connect with my real estate agents through Instagram.
Great. And then we also didn't cover this, but I think there's no YouTube today. Is that accurate?
No.
Oh,
wait, who's
I
that?
found you.
Oh, look at that.
From 1 year ago.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't even know I was on that. Yep, that's me.
Okay. But no personal page.
No personal page.
Okay. So really your strategy today has been, my agents are on Instagram. I'm going to make sure I show up in that place and produce some content and show up and hang out with them.
Correct.
Okay. And what's been your content strategy on Instagram so far, as fast as you can convey it?
For Instagram, it's giving information that's clear, easy to understand, and from a lender perspective, that people can ask me questions, like an approachable, like remember I mentioned approachable earlier? I want to be approachable. And so you're getting a lot of me, like in my Instagram, and exactly how I would walk down the street and talk to you is if you ask me questions about the process.
Yep.
And so that's why you'll always notice if I'm doing that, it's with my emotional support iced coffee.
It's emotional support iced coffee, yep.
And that's what I'm doing.
There it is right there. There's the coffee right there.
Always.
Okay. So what has been your perception of, and effectively, what's caused you not to lean into the other platforms or set stuff up there? What's been your mindset?
LinkedIn specifically, like I'm tired of getting recruited. Like, whatever. And I'm also, the way that people in our industry use LinkedIn, like the attorneys, the title, the agents, it's so like, it's just bland.
Yep.
And I have no excitement for it.
Yep.
So, and like I said, when I do post stuff, it's like, would you reach out to me so we can talk? Like, it's like a lender in Illinois. And I'm like, you don't know what the hell you're doing in New York. So please, I'm like, do you have a New York license? Then don't talk to me.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right. So anything else about, anything you think you should be doing in your mind?
I'm going to be vulnerable. Cue the sad music. I have not gotten into TikTok because I feel silly about it.
Okay.
But everybody tells me I need to get on TikTok because they say I can be funny on things. And it would be a way for me to like just get to be a nerd.
Yeah.
I think adding that, the only hesitation I have is where am I going to build this into the rest of like the filming and all that. I know it's an easy plug and play, but it's a personal hesitation. There's no real reason, just that.
Any other things that you think you should be doing?
YouTube, 1,000%. I think about how much I repeat myself over and over again and how I have this like, the David way of doing mortgages, right? How I teach it. And if I could, I notice a lot of clients, especially the younger generation now, they do not want to reach out to you. They only want to Google and research things before you even engage in conversation.
Yep.
So if I had a way where I can send my agents to my page where the clients can get educated and that would capture them. Figuring out a way, here's the problem. You can give out free information, but the big hesitation there is like, how do I recapture them once they've seen it?
Sure.
But I think YouTube is probably the one I need to double down on next.
Okay. So let's have a kind of a foundational conversation around social, and I want you to filter it in to your own worldview and see what you think about it.
Okay.
Okay. So here's some of the things that I believe to be true. Humans, like you just mentioned, especially the upcoming demographic, they're staring at social content all the time.
Yep.
And so that means the new realtors that are coming in that you love to partner with, the juniors and all that stuff that are kind of that younger demo, they're staring at it. They're probably engaged on it. They might be making their own content on it.
Yeah.
So the first thing to understand is where's the opportunity in this broad space? Because there's a lot of platforms.
Yeah.
There's Twitter, there's Threads, whatever that is. You've got YouTube, which I'm putting as a social platform. You've got Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook Business, and you're like, okay, like what do I do?
Yeah.
So the first thing that you should note is, where is your audience? Where's your community? And that's the first question everyone should be asking as they explore understanding where to go spend time in this space, is where's my community? But don't make assumptions. That's the biggest trap. Because let's go on a small tangent, and this will answer this question. What's your ideal client look like and sound like, and how do they operate, and what do they think, and who is the avatar of your best potential client?
I love the client that is maybe like in the millennial space.
Okay.
Right, where they're educated to the point where they have a little bit of foundation of how things work.
Yep.
But where that part of the generation also trust having still an advisory practice with them. Some of the younger generations do not believe in that at all, right? And so I like kind of that space where you have a young professional, they know what you do is great, and they trust you for it, and they partner with you.
Yep.
And they kind of say, all right, guide me.
Okay.
That's my ideal. And there's a price point to that too, but.
So what platforms, if you had to guess, do you think those people are on?
They're on Instagram.
Yeah, and they're also on TikTok.
They're also on TikTok.
And they're on YouTube.
I did not know that. Okay.
Well, so
I'm assuming.
Think about YouTube sits in a unique space in social content in that it tends to be like mid to longer form content. Now they have shorts, but like they tend to be like research centric platform. People go there and ask questions. People go there and look up topics. People go there for to get insight.
Yeah.
So the educated millennials are searching for different content on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they're absorbing information on that platform.
Makes sense.
I'd also say that LinkedIn is going to be an interesting place for you to explore.
Okay.
My phone just called somebody. That's amazing. I'll put that down here now. I'm like, well, I hear a phone ringing. Somebody's ringing, and I thought it was you, but it's me. So leave it in. LinkedIn is going to be an interesting platform to explore.
Where the hell is my phone?
Because LinkedIn might surprise you when you start to look up some of these people.
Yep.
That they're starting to come on this platform also.
Okay.
Now, one of the things you said that I want to draw out for everybody, including you, is, you made a comment about, I'll use LinkedIn, being like, I get recruited, I don't like the environment, I don't like the thing. For anybody that complains about a platform, my critique back is, you're complaining about the audience you've created on that platform.
True. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? So it's also like, oh, hey, wait a minute. Like I used to laugh because somebody I know who's a little bit older would be like, man, TikTok's just dancing girls. And I'm like, really? Weird that your TikTok is just dancing girls. And so that's my comment. On LinkedIn, any platform, what you're watching, who you're surrounded by, who's feeding into you, just like in life, is what you're gonna see.
Yeah.
So
the reason I'm laughing about this is because most of the agents I follow are a little bit, they're from a more classic sales approach. So everything is a fabulous and the words that are just so annoying. It's like mint condition. It's like, honey,
it's not mint.
Nobody uses that anymore. Get your shit together, right? So, yeah, no.
So when we really get into it, what I want you to do is attack these platforms with an open mind.
Okay.
Understand that what those platforms are feeding you, you've cultivated. So clean that shit up.
Okay.
Mute people, I mean, I don't necessarily always agree with like blocking, but like maybe you want them in your community, you just don't want them talking to you anymore. You don't want to see their stuff anymore. So you just mute. They'll see your stuff. They can stay connected. But really, on all these platforms, it's around cultivating the community.
Yeah, like there's just one person I follow, and they're like always working out in the morning and shit. I'm just like I don't want to see your crowd. Oh, sorry.
Please stop working out. I think you're talking about me.
Yep.
So this is so let's start there. Let's start with kind of opening our eyes a little bit to the platforms, being like, okay, there's probably more opportunity on these. Cultivate the audience, and then zoom in on the areas that we think are the most attractive for us.
Great.
Now, from an audit perspective, we have some opportunities here. So number one.
Thank you for being positive.
Yes, number one. For the sites like Facebook that are kind of like, let's say you're like, I'm over Facebook. You decide. I don't like it. I'm not going to invest in it. I'm not going to spend time in it. But from a brand perspective, you should have it stood up where it's like a set it and forget it.
Okay.
Because it's still going to be a site people are going to bump into you on, as opposed to not, and you want them to see you. You want to be like, you want to show people that you're in a lot of places. So it's like, let's clean it and then move on. So which means tackle the headshot, tackle the banner.
Okay.
Similar to your business page, like this is a good headshot, but it's not you anymore.
Yep.
Right? Like you mentioned, you ditched the suit a while back,
the
right?
suit.
So come scrape through here, put the right stuff on there. Put the right, the banner's personalized in the sense that it's your number and it's your email, but it's not you.
No.
And that's a problem. It should be you. Now, it doesn't have, like, and you have to decide what level of you want to show, right? We kind of, and that's a dance. But like, I want to see David, and I want to see some of your values coming through. It's like, in a perfect world, all the things you value, I should be able to see in a banner. And that's not realistic. That's really hard to do.
Okay.
But like, can I see more personality? Can I get a little closer to the real David in this world? And the answer is, yeah. This is not the real David. This is the David from private banking from a while back.
Yeah.
This looks closer to me like the real David.
Yep.
Right? Like this is like, hey, I'm out here, I'm having fun, I'm in the streets, I'm doing my work. I like your bio here. I like all this stuff. We'll talk about Linktree as a place to put like another like landing page style piece of content in there, so that you can direct them to YouTube. You can direct them to other places. But this is pretty decent. Opportunities are like pinned posts.
Yep.
So and filling out these little bubbles.
Agreed.
And so these are like nitpicky stuff, but on a rounded profile, you'll get to see more about you in an instant than I'm seeing in the first glimpse here.
Yeah.
And so, this is a silly example, but you kind of come here and you see, okay, I got more about Alec right here in these bubbles. I'm not going to click it because I'm a normal person who cares. I got pinned posts that are about me. And so you just get that instant like pop. And that's a little bit of an opportunity for you to just lean into.
Yeah.
Like this could be an about you video that you pinned, or something that you're really proud of, or some video that you felt did well. And then we're kind of cleaned up. Make sense?
Yeah.
And by the way, I know you know this, but like the team's gonna come through and do all this right for you. That's part of the deal.
Okay.
So you're gonna work with the creative team and be like, they're gonna come up with banners and ideas, and we're gonna do a photo shoot. We're gonna put all this stuff. All this is gonna get done.
All right.
So we're gonna force you through it. YouTube, huge opportunity. And so let's just talk about YouTube for a second, and I'll do it I'll come to my channel because you don't have one. And we'll just talk through what this could look like. This is personal. Let's switch account. Don't go. Okay, so right here you got banner, you got Alec being a dork, you've got a pinned video, what does marketing do? You've got playlists, and you've got all the rest of the shorts and all the rest of my content.
Cool.
So same thing for you. You got my about, which is, hey, thanks for visiting my profile. By the way, this is a side note for everyone watching and for you. Every bio should be written in first person.
Okay.
We're not in the 80s anymore where your secretary is writing your bio.
But David Rodriquez studied at the University of Texas.
Yes.
And
Yes. And this is also, so back to like why I've told you to build out Facebook and why this is all about taking headspace on Google. the more content you produce across platforms, even if it's the same video you're putting out on different platforms, the more that Google will pull you to the front. Another opportunity on Google that I forgot to mention is you need to create a Google business page. Have you seen those before?
Yeah.
And David has one, so it's good job, David. We're going to talk about his. So, which is interesting, by the way, because look who the number one person is on this. When I type Mortgage Loan Depot, it's you.
Ding. Thank you, SEO Loan Depot.
But this guy came in with the business page and took your spot.
Ouch.
So, and by the way, then you come down here and you got LinkedIn has you because you have a LinkedIn profile. Yeah. But now you see David Mortgage Broker on Yelp took the spot.
Yeah.
So this is the power of content and creating content is it's going to dominate the front page the more you put yourself into that space. And for everyone listening and for you, every single professional has to have a Google business page, and that's where you should effectively get your reviews.
Okay.
Because it's the biggest search engine in the world.
Yeah.
If someone's going to like vet you and be like, is David a good guy? And they look you up and they see you got some reviews, they're going to be like, oh yeah, he's a good guy. Make sense?
Yeah.
So back to YouTube. That way, when you build out multiple pages here, you can see you have all these different ways to find you, engage with you. It extends your reach. And what it really does is it shows, there's chubby Alec from a while back. It shows everybody what you're about, that you're a real professional, that you're bigger than life, that you're in all the spaces. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it seems like such a daunting task, but like the same way I started with video, like I got video curious and I filmed with a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And I realized like, oh, this isn't that bad. And then I started doing videos through Vidyard.
Yeah.
We have, right? And then I got even more video curious, and then I kind of
came
out of the video closet and then just went full force and like walking down the street with a videographer. So I think this is my curiosity today, and like I'm excited to kind of break through again.
Now, we're going to get into content strategy later. So this is really about setting yourself up for success, where before you've even made pieces of content, it's kind of just like get all these platforms in a position that you're happy with.
Okay.
That you look at and you're like, yeah, this is me. Like if somebody saw, I mean, I'm going to pick on this, but if I saw this and then I had a meeting with you, I'd be like, who the hell is this? And who are you? And that's the incongruence we want to pull out.
Yeah.
That's the more we can pull that out and more we can connect in the realness of you, the more that it'll shine through.
Yeah.
So any questions that make sense?
No, it's great. I love seeing how this all kind of, it's one of those things where it's like a snowball effect, right?
Yeah.
So like once you start one thing, you can easily start expanding to the others.
Yep.
And you don't have to like, it just all kind of builds with each other. So
yes.
It's like everything in our business, right?
It's all interconnected. And I don't want you to get stuck on some things that people get stuck on, this feels overwhelming.
Yeah.
I have to have profiles on every freaking thing, and I have to, but it's some of this stuff, like for Facebook, like what we're going to do is we're just going to build it out. We're going to have it look classy. It's going to be modern, contemporary to your brand today and your personality today. And then, if you don't choose to post here, like the world can move on.
Yeah, right.
It's fine. But back to the real work of this. The real work of social is not going to be in reskinning all the stuff, because we'll do that.
Yeah.
The real work is not in actually making content, which people think that's the real work. The real work is social media is a two-way street. And if you want to build community, which you're a natural community builder, it's a part of your value set, it's part of who you are, the best way to do it is to get on these platforms and start to actually talk to other people.
Okay.
So let's explore that for a second, because let's talk about this. Instagram's you're most active on, and by the way, your video content's great here. Like this, the walk and learn type of content.
Yeah.
It's fantastic content strategy. So you're already doing things naturally that are right in line with what you should be doing. The opportunity though is, how many times do you scroll through Instagram and comment on other people's stuff?
I mean, I respond to their stuff,
Yep.
right? And I like things because I was told to.
Yep.
And when I get a DM, I respond to it. But I will probably, my engagement at the moment is going through stories, like in between calls, or if I'm on a really boring call, I'll like scroll, I'll like, heart, and that's it. Like I don't ever type.
So by the way, that's one step ahead of a lot of people.
Okay.
There's people that are making videos every day and they're not even liking other people's stuff, so it's one step ahead.
Okay.
But here's the opportunity. Think about it from a community building perspective, which you made the comment earlier, so I know you value this, where like for your friends, you'll just like hit them up. If you haven't heard from them in a while, you send them a message, thinking about you, love you, what's going on. The same opportunity exists on these platforms. Just go do it. Meaning, you said Instagram has a lot of the realtors that I want to connect with. So what are they doing on Instagram? They're posting.
Yeah, every day.
And so your chance to not just story scroll and like, but your chance to actually add a comment that's authentically you, that's validating their existence. It goes farther in marketing than any paid ad, than any bus stop bench, like anything. And it costs nothing except time and intention, which is costly. But I'm telling you, David, if you leaned into this before even making content, and you said, look, I'm going to drink my coffee, and I'm going to go through, and when I see people that I'm trying to build community with, post about whatever they're posting about, life, business, whatever, and you're actively interested in it, and you make an authentic comment, which isn't like a thumbs up emoji, but it's like a whatever's you.
Yeah.
What do you think happens? I mean, I know you know what happens, but what happens?
I mean, like anybody, like everyone wants to be validated and wants
Absolutely.
to be, like, like, hey, I'm here, right?
Yeah. So they get a little notification on their phone.
Yeah.
They get a dopamine hit. They're like, who's interested in me?
Yeah.
They go, and it's you. And they're like, damn, that was nice.
Yeah.
That made them feel good. It validated them. Now, I pay attention. There's a line between being creepy and being authentically a good person.
Yeah.
You got to find your personal line on that. Meaning, I don't want someone listening to this being like, every day I'm just like, yeah, and I'm like, you're creeping out that person. Stop, especially if you don't know them very well.
Like if I say, girl, your hair looks good, and you say, girl, your hair looks good.
Different vibes.
Very different vibes.
So you got to really understand that and be intentional in it. But man, I'm telling you, like, let's just take this from a prospecting perspective. I'm sure there's realtors out there that you think are great, that you think you'd be a good partner with, that you're just not working together yet, or you haven't caught through to like being able to like call them yet, and just whatever it is. Your ability to follow them on Instagram every now and then in an appropriate way, boost their algorithm by giving them a comment. That's a helpful, useful comment to what they're trying to achieve. Not like, call me, I can do a loan for you, bullshit, but like, something cool.
Yeah, or I could beat that rate.
Yeah, something stupid.
Yeah.
They're gonna think better of you over time. They're gonna be like, this guy's like not coming at me to sell.
Yeah.
He's being a contributor to my community. He's boosting my algorithm by commenting. He's giving good like feedback in there, like great house or amazing listing or can't wait to walk, whatever. And all of a sudden, now you go to prospect that person. They're like, oh, David. Oh yeah, like absolutely. Like let's grab a coffee. Let's go. Like it's.
I will say already. So through these videos, and just like full disclosure, what I'm doing right now, 1 hour a month, I do as many takes as I can within that hour, and then my videographer sends it out, cuts it, clips it, whatever, and posts it at like peak times per the whatever, right? So it's like on auto.
Great.
And what's happened is I had one agent who's newer to the industry who was like, thank you for being part of the LGBTQ community and being so visible. I got a meeting.
Yeah.
And now we got a pre-approval.
Amazing.
It was amazing. And then I have somebody that I haven't spoken to in 6 years who was like, hey, I noticed you're doing social. I'm dipping into it. Let's meet for coffee. So like it was like a great reconnect.
So good,
and
dude.
I was really excited for it. So that's why I'm like, I'm ready to do this. Now, here's my question to you.
Go ahead.
So I'm already starting, right? Like I said, came out of the video closet, ready to go. But what are we doing? What is your suggestion for people? Like, again, we talked structure a few moments ago. What can I do to put structure in place, like on my time blocks and whatever, that I'm checking in and doing content or whatever? Like, how many times should I do it? 1 hour a week, 3 hours? Like, and the Instagram stuff, like the liking and post, that's easy, right? The liking stuff, like you're in a cab or whatever you all do.
We drive here.
Yeah.
We actually drive.
When you're driving and liking things on Instagram. But like, what do you recommend so that I get to be excited about it? Like if I had a plan in place, I'm like, I want to do this on Fridays at noon, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's your strategy there to make sure that I'm always just checking in?
So, We're going to tackle that in a segment this afternoon. So it's a perfect question. It's a perfect question. To put a bow on this whole segment, your objective here is to work with our team, come through, get this into the look and feel that is most contemporary to your brand expression today.
Okay.
We'll help you do that. Redo your bios, put them in first person, create a link tree, get all your resources connected so that someone can find you on multiple platforms.
Great.
Get a Google business page oriented, and really set yourself up for the content expression exercise.
Okay.
Once that's done, we can figure out. That's amazing. It just turned off. Once that's anybody? Bueller? We're back. We're back. Leave it in. Once that's done, we'll be able to dive into, okay, how do we start making content that's exactly tailored to the audience you want to cultivate and you want to create and you want to attract? And how do we find time for that and get strategy around that and all the fun stuff? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So, any other questions on just structure around these things?
No, I mean, I didn't realize, I'll be honest, like, and for people that are watching and other loan officers, they're probably looking at this the same way I'm like, holy shit, this is a lot that I have to do, but I'm going to take it from the proactive approach of like, I'm already doing some stuff and it's just going to slowly, like, it's all going to feed each other.
Yeah, and also the right perspective is, like, you don't have to have this solved tomorrow.
Yeah.
You got to chunk it down. And so, yeah, you know, some of the banners, maybe you can reuse the banners. I know the format's different and the sizing's different, but we can reuse those across platforms. You know, we don't have to have a fully baked YouTube strategy with playlists and everything done, like ready to go by tomorrow. But what we can do is we can set it up to start drilling into it, and then have it positioned where you're ready for that thing tomorrow.
Cool.
Make sense?
Love it.
All right, let's get on to the next segment.
Let's go.
Rock on. Bam. We're here. Are we here? We're live. All right. Look, I got my my iced coffee now.
I had to switch. I've had 3.
I know. I'm ready. Okay. Before we talk about creating content and filming content and all this stuff, a core question that we have to answer is, when are you going to have time for any of this stuff? And in order to get that, this is a session I call Marketing Mayhem, where I want to understand from you what you do every day to market yourself to drive business. Okay? Now, we'll give you some groundwork, because as a previous originator and as someone who has had this conversation now multiple times with people, I know the answers. So it's okay. You're in a safe environment, but we're going to talk about things that are strategic, meaning they're non-negotiable in your life. They happen on your calendar. They can be time blocked, or like they're non-negotiables. And then we'll talk about like origination or marketing activities that are organic, which is when like you think about it and then you do it. So I'm going to divide this up though to make it easy. Okay. We're going to talk about partners.
Yep.
We're going to talk about past clients.
Okay.
We're going to talk, and partners can be referral partners or like business, like financial planners, CPAs, anyone that can give you like referrals. And then we'll talk about local, meaning like direct to consumer local strategies, and then we'll talk about digital. Okay, just kind of break it up into easy boxes. So the first one that's always easy to start with is partners.
Okay. Am I writing this down?
You can, but it's more, I want you to write down ideas or options to kind of maybe expand into.
Okay.
Because we're going to my objective here is to shame you. No, my objective here is to give you ideas of ways to increase your strategies. Okay?
Got it.
So, partners.
Dave, could you put the drink on the right side?
God damn it. Drink. The drink.
It's fine. It wasn't.
It ruined the whole thing. We're going to run it back.
Don't have to run it.
All right. You know, when you hire Bush League talent, this is what you work with. All right? This guy. Okay, partners.
Yes.
I assume you have existing partners that you work with.
Yes.
What is your strategy to stay in touch, stay in communication, earn all their business, earn more of their business? What's your strategy for existing partners?
Right now, like I used to structure it out where like Mondays I would call my existing partners, right?
Yeah.
And so real estate, it's mostly real estate agents.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would shoot them a call on Mondays because coming off the weekend, they have the most things to say.
Free calls.
on
They
a
could
Monday.
they could have business.
So I would call on Mondays. And then my
You said you're using the would word or
Yeah.
did. So,
Did.
so what are you doing now?
for right now, it sounds crazy, but I'm kind of using I'm depending on social.
Okay.
Just because every transaction right now is requiring much more work than ever, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. So I've fallen out of calling on Mondays, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's fine.
And so I'm depending on social because that's how I'm at least showing I'm out there doing stuff to remind them. And then also, let's not forget like our great CRM, Mondays sends out automatic stuff.
Understood.
So blah, blah, blah.
Do you think you should be contacting the existing agents on a regular cadence?
For sure.
Or do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is a lot of times they don't even pick up the phone,
Absolutely.
right? So a lot of this has to be a little bit more,
Yeah,
kind of organic. Yeah.
Yeah, organic. We'll put outreach here as a question
Yep.
to kind of figure out how we want to play with. Anything else that you do intentionally with the agents in your sphere, whether it's frequent or not, but it's on your mind?
I teach a lot of classes,
You said that before.
so I invite them.
So how often are you teaching a class?
It could be as much as like once every 2 weeks, sometimes once a month, if not, it just depends on the season. So like we're heading into in New York in July and August, nobody wants to see you in person. They're out in the Hamptons, they're off everyone goes away. So right now I'm gonna be teaching. We had a rush of teaching stuff in June, and now for July it's crickets.
Walk me through are these virtual, in person?
Both. So I'm doing Zoom, and I'm partnering with different partners and
Yeah.
attorneys, things like that. But it's a lot of Zoom. But also we've been doing. You'll love this, my brand. We're doing a wine bar,
Yeah.
and so
Absolutely.
it's cozy, it's quaint, 20 people, and I teach Mortgage 101 refresher there, and people love it.
And this is all real estate centric.
Only real estate agents,
Yep.
yeah.
Great.
So tapas and rosé. What do you want?
Beautiful. 100%. I'm there. This sounds amazing. Okay, so that's once, twice a month, but how organic versus strategic is it?
It's more organic in the sense that I invite them. I say, you got to come. You got to, I'm dealing with this issue right now. I want you to come learn about it. And also, it's just an easy touch base.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether they come or not, you're making
It
great
doesn't
contacts.
matter. Yeah.
Okay. So that's local. This is professional events. This is great. What else?
What else am I doing?
Yeah. Are they getting any emails? Are they getting any
Yeah,
texts? Are they getting any? What?
I hate text because
No text.
my fingers can't handle it, and also I need everything to kind of go through one channel.
Yep.
So I'm doing mostly CRM.
Okay.
So I add them to the CRM. They get an email weekly, and we're doing that so far.
So they're getting the CRM economic news.
Yep. Mondays.
Okay. Pause for a sec, 'cause my mic's falling off.
I'm gonna drink my water on the right-hand side.
Leave it in. We'll just leave this all in. All right. Nope, just stuck it to the chest. That's how you do it when you gotta.
You're gonna rip it off.
Make
and be
it happen.
"Ah."
You're assuming I have hair. It's a bad assumption.
Oh God.
Leave it in.
Did you see my brain? I was just like,
Yeah, you had a hard time with that. All right, so I think anything else for existing partners? I think I got the flow.
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about prospecting partners. Do you have an active list of agents that you're like, I want to work with these people?
No.
Okay.
But for prospecting, I reach out to a lot of sales managers, and I talk about, I schedule hey, there's an issue coming up. Hey, this is what's going on in the market. And they're like, what? You got to come present this in my office. And so I kind of like how we talked about a hook, story, whatever.
How many times are you doing that a month approximately?
At least 2 to 4 times. Depends on, again, consistency if the agents are in the office or they're not.
And I would assume that this stuff is you're not looking at a whiteboard being like, I need to have 2 a month this month, and so I'm going to call sales managers until I have 2.
No.
You're more like, I'm going to call some of these people that I know,
Yeah.
that I talk to every now and then,
Yeah.
tell them I got this.
And usually what I do is I actually use, whoever is in their office or agents that are having an issue, I call and say, hey, by the way, your agent had this issue. Everyone needs to know about it.
Yep.
Hey, Alec, could you
anything going out in email or mail to these agents that you're kind of prospecting or anything like that?
No.
Okay, excellent. All right, so let's unpack thoughts around this.
Yes.
And this is like, dude, you're a pro. You take what you want from this and then play with it, right? But the overarching opportunity is to start to push things that are organic into strategic.
Okay.
And it creates a friction point and accountability point for you that you got to figure out how you want to play with. You mentioned earlier that you do really well with structure, and sometimes you seek structure in order to like make sure you can accomplish what you want to accomplish. So one of the things that in any of this path that I think is worth it is setting up personal objectives for what you want to accomplish per month. And that can be defeating because then you don't achieve it, you beat yourself up, or you can exceed it and feel proud and all these different things. But these tactics of these luncheon, these think and drinks, and these like this is gold. This is absolute gold. You're on a gold mine. And the fact that you don't have any fear, reluctance in getting in front of people and calling out these guys and saying, "Let me come teach this," is gold. Other people have huge issues even getting the phone up. So you should take advantage of that, and you should set up goals per month, which is like, hey, I want to invite X number of my existing realtors. I'm going to do 2 a month of these. I'm randomly throwing this out, but I'm going to do 2 a month of these. I'm going to work to come up with the content and the ideas and really be thoughtful. And then I want 2 of these, where I'm going into sales offices and teaching on could be the same topic almost.
It is.
And then it's like when it's on the whiteboard and you're like looking at it every day and you're like, shit, I have to accomplish this and I haven't got it done yet. What's going to happen is, what's going to happen. You're going to pick the phone up and you're going to start setting it because you just don't want it to be that way. So I think it's one of those things, like I call it insecurity hacking, but when you know what drives you and then you put yourself into a position where it's going to drive you, it's almost like cheating yourself. You're playing yourself. And so like a silly one for me is I know that if I make a public declaration of an objective and I'm going to achieve X, Y, Z, and then I have to post about it every day to achieve it, I will burn down buildings and nothing stops me. Nothing stops me. And so like I did this weight loss challenge and I did 100 days where I was going to eat meat and vegetables, no sugar, no alcohol. Terrible.
Okay.
And I was going to at least sweat every day.
Yeah. Okay.
And because I was going to post it every single day, the fear I had of some idiot who no one cares, no one's watching my shit, like no one cares, but the fear I had internally of someone's going to watch me fail, I couldn't fail.
Yeah.
And so play with that with yourself because you're really good at getting in front of people. In fact, it's one of your biggest skill sets and people love you.
Yeah.
So if you just were like, I got to get 2 of these,
Here's the messy part. So if I look at a snapshot from the last 2 weeks before I came here, you would be absolutely pissed off at me because I had probably one event a day, if not 2.
So you were active.
And here's the worst part. Every single event, I couldn't tell you what I did. I have to go back to my calendar. I probably did all these things, and asking me how many people I followed up with.
Well, let's put follow up aside.
You're starting to shake. I'm like,
let's put follow up aside. But
I do events, like I overbook myself.
Okay.
Events.
So you gotta solve that, as you know, which is either with systems or people. And so it's one of those situations where if you know that the follow up's going to be bad, then what you do is you get time on Gary's calendar and you say, listen, I'm going to do, I will do a thing and I will get names into the CRM.
Yeah.
I can do that. But I need the CRM after that to start sending them emails, to start sending them reminders, requests for appointments. Like I need the system to do the rest of this because I won't do it. And so you got to get systems or people to build the flat spots. Now, we're gonna shift a little into digital as one of the strategies, but are you filming yourself doing all these presentations?
50-50.
Okay. It needs to be 100.
Okay.
It's a no-brainer. Even if you have to teach yourself how to set up a camera and then just hit record and have a mic on and then send that to an editor afterwards, you have gold content that you're already making.
Every day.
And because you're on stage,
Yeah.
Even if it's 5 people, even if you're just addressing a small crowd, I'm serious.
No,
You feel me on this already, right? You see it? Like this is authority.
I do it like whenever I host a home buyer event.
Yeah.
I don't ask the agents to get a lot of people there. I want 5 people.
Yeah.
Because I need 5 heads to get in front of the camera.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
It's authority. So write down, film every one of these things, because it's free double content. You're getting the face-to-face content, and now you recorded, and and you can clip it. And if you blow it or say something, like, who cares?
Who cares?
You don't use it. But that's not who you are. You're going to crush it.
Of course.
Okay. So here's other things to consider in this whole world. Okay. In brand building, the objective is know you, like you, trust you. When you're doing all these things, you have to make sure that all these people are connected on your socials with you. I know, it's a follow-up piece. It's the follow-up thing. But you got to make sure. You have to. Because you're now speaking in front of them, and then you want them to see your face every day.
Yep.
that they're out there. So think about how to incorporate it. Like maybe at the end of the presentation, it's like, all right, we're all going to share socials. Let's follow each other. Let's build community together. And then you're all just doing it while you drink the rosé. Figure out how to put intention behind this. Because, I mean, I don't need to say it. You see it, right? This is gold.
You know what I did? You all were so great in creating a QR code for us that's branded. And so when I go to an office, I have it on my screen.
Yep.
And so they always ask me like, hey, can I have a business card? So I stopped giving out business cards. I'm like, oh, I ran out, so sorry. But I'm doing everything digital these days. So I show my phone, point it, and I watch them actually save it to their phones.
Yep.
And I'm like, email me.
Perfect.
And so it's been a fun, a test. And it's been, insane how...
So another QR code you can have, besides your contact card, is one to like a link tree, which we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Which now has all your social handles on it. And you can say, hey, here's all my social handles. Would you mind if we connected on these platforms?
Yeah.
And just ask. And then what's going to happen is when you do this with agents, they're going to be like, please tell me how to do this.
Correct.
Like, we have to come back to my next class. No, I mean, like, this is like, you're like, yes, let me help. So.
And I always end every class with, all right, this was great. If you like this, we have another one. And I give them the next date, right? Like a teaser.
So, record everyone.
Okay.
Get connected to these people on social, repurpose the content, and put it out on social again.
Okay.
Okay? Another thing to consider. I think that it's worth using Market 360, getting the top 100 to 150 agents in your zip, in New York, and knowing who those people are.
Okay.
Just some are assholes and you never want to talk to.
Yeah.
Some are probably pretty good and you would like to probably get to know them better.
Agreed.
And everything in between. And a bunch I'm sure you know. Those 150 should be in your social ecosystem for several reasons. Number one, even the a-hole agent, like the worst, if you somehow came onto a deal with them, you still want them to be like, oh, I know David.
Correct.
Like, he's a good dude. Like, at the minimum, even if you're like, I never want to work with you ever, if you do cross paths and you do co-op on a deal.
Yeah. And they want to see, when they see the pre-approval, and they see the face on all of our pre-approvals, Loan Depot, that's what, it really does help.
It does. So get the 100 to 150, put them in your CRM, follow them all on social, connect to them all on social, be intentional about this. Because you need to, at a minimum, you want these people to know you, respect the hustle a little bit, just have that face recognition. And then at the same time, as you go through that list, chances are you'll find people on that list that you don't really know very well that look like good people. Like you'll see their social, you're like, yeah, that looks like a good person. And with Mail and Market, you can tell who they're working with and all these things. So now you can decide if you want to prospect them or not. Okay. If you want to actively go after them or not, which could be an invite to a coaching, invite to your training. It could be, a reach out to just introduce yourself. It could be 1,000 different things. But inside of your realtor prospecting strategy, for whatever it's worth, I still think today physical mailings work.
Interesting. Okay.
So let that come
walk me through that.
Yeah, let that come into your psyche and figure out how you feel about it. So here's what I think it works. Okay, we get 1,000 emails a day, and they're trash, and we're frustrated by it. We get 1,000 robocalls a day.
Yep.
from people who we don't know, meaning it could be you calling an agent to introduce yourself, or it's spam.
Yeah.
Texting is what it is.
Yeah.
And there's fake texts happening now every 5 seconds of like, hey, were you open this weekend? I'm like, I know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Physical mail, intentional physical mail that has that feeling of authenticity and intention behind it, I think cuts through the noise. And if you're looking to build brand recognition and kind of connection and community, sending something to somebody in the mail where it costs some money, so everyone knows this wasn't free. Emails are free. It's a throwaway. Yeah. And if you put some thought behind it, I think it creates more brand recognition and connection than some of these other strategies like email and cold calls and texts and even social DMs.
What would you say frequency on that?
Well, we're going to flip over to past customers in a second.
Okay.
But I'll tie it in right now because I think I think the same thing for past customers. And I think that it depends. I think anything more than once a month is too much. And then it's kind of pick your poison after that. So once a month I think is appropriate. If you want to do every 2 months or every once a quarter, I think once a quarter would be the minimum. I'd say don't waste time. If you're going to do twice a year, stop it. But and this has to fall into this is where your personality gets to show up. Because I'm not talking about some bullshit mailer like economic news. I'm talking about something from David. Fun, silly, personable, creative, like connecting.
Okay.
Something that just would make somebody smile, would tell somebody you're thinking about them, and that you're here for them, type of a thing. And so that might change for your past customers or to your realtors.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what I did, and it's very much Alec's personality. So don't overlay this. Try to see yourself in it.
Okay.
But I took the top 100 agents, and I would send them something kind of ridiculous once a month. So I sent them a squeezy stress dog toy, like a bone, and said, throw me a bone. Love a chance to earn your business. I sent them a little tiny screwdriver for your eyeglasses and said, tired of getting screwed by your current lender? I wouldn't do that today. This is 2002.
Yeah.
I sent people scratch-offs.
Yeah.
Saying, you're always a winner with me. I sent people custom fortune cookies that had your next loan with Alex and it closed 2 weeks early, and my number on it. I literally sent the top 100 agents a brick that said, let's build a strong foundation together. I would send them stuff in tubes because you get a tube in the mail and you're like,
open it.
what's this tube? You open it up, it's like a flyer. I for some of the top 25 agents, I made an Alec Hanson bobblehead and sent them all a bobblehead of myself. Okay. I went to Michael's and bought those little display cases, like 3D display cases. Yeah. And I taped my business card to the back and said, break in case of emergency. And I sent that to the top 25 because it was more expensive. So I did a lot of, my favorite all time, and I took this from John Bianchi, was I made a packet of an about me page, loans I offer, my specialties, and on the front, a nice big bifold. On the front, I put a letter and I taped a brand new $5 bill to it. I went to 5 banks to get brand new $5 bills, and I taped it to it. And I said, if you make, I can't remember the number, I think it's like $185,000 a year, then you're worth $1, for a minute of your time is worth $1. So here's $5 for 5 minutes of your time to review my propaganda so that you consider taking a meeting with me. And so it cost me $500 plus postage,
Yeah.
I got so many wacky responses. I had people call me out of the blue and be like, this is incredible. I'll take a lunch with you.
Yeah.
And I'll pay for your coffee because I got your $5. I had people that mailed it back to me saying I don't violate RESPA. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not working with you. Put them off the list.
Yeah.
What an idiot, doesn't even understand what RESPA is.
Yeah.
So and then when I go to a broker previews and prospect them, they'd be like, oh dude, this is hilarious. No one's ever sent me $5 before. I read your whole thing. So this is very Alec.
Yeah.
But what's David? And what's fun and silly based on where you're at today in your life? And just think about it.
Okay.
I just think that if the goal, if you look at this list and you're like, you know what? It doesn't have to be 100. You know what? These 25 people, I really want them to get to know me. I really want them to consider working with me. What would you do? That's something to consider.
Okay.
So, kind of zooming back down on this thing here, I think some opportunities are get that top 100, 150 list, start to look at these people, start to add them to your social communities, start to figure out, do you want to prospect them or not? How do you want to prospect them? Codify your activities into like, my objective this month is X. I want to do 2 meetings, or maybe your month's already packed and you're like, I don't need to do anything. I'm booked.
But at least like.
But at least have an objective. At least
Yeah.
have like a goal. And start low and then figure out what fits in your normal life. Because right now you're not doing any of that strategically. So now to say like, well, now I want to have 6 meetings. It's like, well, no, it's overkill. Like 1. But think about that. Sound
Even
reasonable?
just organizing it, because like,
Dude,
I'm
yes,
doing a ton
yes.
of this,
Yes.
but I have no organization. Like, I just, a lot of times people know that I do these things, and they just say, hey, can you do this on this date? I'm like, yes. And then next thing you know, I have 3 things booked in that week that I should not
You're
have,
like,
I should not have, booked 3 of those 2-hour teachings in a week. And I'm like, that's gonna take me off the desk for 3 lunches. Like, that's a nightmare.
And you got to build a follow-up around it.
Correct.
So if you have 3, maybe that's too much to actually do the follow-up now because you're just running around.
Yeah. Well,
so
it's 3 of
like
those plus other things.
loans and customers and
And
life.
also other events, right? Like.
Yeah. So food for thought on this, right?
Okay.
All right, so let's look to past customers.
All right. P.S. Can we take a quick break? I
Yes.
pee so bad.
Yes. Break. All right. Let's flip into past customers.
Yes.
So you have a database.
Yep.
I know where it is. Do you know where it is? You're like, I don't know.
I sure do.
All right. So let's talk about what your existing strategy is with these people
Okay.
that obviously love you. You took care of them. You helped them. They got friends and family. What do you do?
At the moment,
Excellent.
right now I'm not doing a ton. So for condos, we every year have to get an updated insurance policy.
Oh.
And so we worked with our servicing team, and now they're alerting me before they ask for that insurance policy. So guess what I do when we need that? I get in front of the client.
And do you call them? Do you email them?
I
What do you
email
do?
them, say, hey, FYI, you're getting this email. You're getting this letter in the mail. I'm going to do it for you. How are you? How are the kids? Well, I always have, notes. And then I ask them, like, can you introduce me to your managing agent? And so then by that, they always send back, like, hey, what's going on? Da-da-da-da-da. And that's how I do that.
Okay. So how much business do you get from your past clients approximately?
Not crazy. I would say, during refis, it's a lot. But right now, I'm probably getting like 10, 15% like referrals.
All right.
They're
So
referring their friends, family. whatever.
yeah. So let's dive into it, right? Do you put them on any type of drip or any type of emails?
Just what's our CRM standard.
Yeah. Which I don't like. BS.
I'm like, don't you run that?
Pretty sure I do. So here's food for thought in the same vein as kind of the customers. I think that in a normal market, in a bad market like this, 20-30% of your business could be coming from them pretty consistently. In a normal market, I think it could be 30 to 40%. I'm not talking refis, I'm talking referrals.
Yeah, agreed.
And so the game here, especially if a guy like you who's very busy and active, is systematizing outreach so that it's hands off, but
It's happening.
it's David.
Yep.
And it's not like, so let me give you an example. That'll make more sense. So right now, you could go film 12 videos.
Uh-huh.
And the videos could be, hey, it's your first month since we closed your mortgage, and here's some things to expect. Right? And blah, 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 blah. Hey, it's month 2 of your mortgage, and I just want to tell you, here's the next thing to expect.
Well, like the basic one, like first month, you don't make a mortgage payment.
Yep.
Congrats.
So you film 12 videos, Gary loads them into the CRM, and every time you close a loan, they're going to go out to your customer with a nice message from you. And that at least covers you for a year, right? And by the way, it doesn't even have to be all mortgage-centric content. You could do stuff like, hey, it's your 6 months. We offer equity lines and HELOCs if you're ever curious, but also there's an amazing restaurant you got to check out.
Yeah.
Blah. Or if you need home repair or you need time to do some fix-up stuff, I know some great contractors. Hit me, send me a text. I'll hook you up. So it could be a lot of broad things, but this is an incredible way. The mic fell down again. I hate you all. Really? fell off my. Look at it. Look at it. Look at this. Look at this Bush League.
That's myself.
Here, hold on.
What is Bush League?
I have a. Hold on. Come here. Just leave this all in. I'm going to show the professionals how you do this. So, guys, this is a magnetic clip. I don't know if you've ever seen these before. It's new technology with these magnets that clip in. So what you do is you put this up the shirt, hit it with the clip, and now we're in. So, it's just what I do is I teach people. And I bring them along
Professor Hanson.
to make the world better. It does give you a little fold in your shirt though, so it's not ideal. But
You can always go back to the vampire.
What's that?
they stab you in the neck.
What is Bush League?
By the way, I've been getting you BTS.
Oh, okay. So it's de classe en bas.
Look, don't say fancy words to me, okay?
I pretend I'm simple, but in reality, all my china is porcelain. He hates it so much.
We're back! Brand new!
Said it again.
So, past customers. 12 videos once a month, but inside all of this strategy, first of all, you need a social strategy.
Yep.
So every month, you should print out a list of closings, pull up social, find them, connect to them, especially when you did a good job. Obviously, if there was a problem with a loan, don't friend them. You declined them, probably not good. But like, this is on your calendar, right? Like you pull it up, you grab your your list of closings, you knock it out while you're having your coffee once a month. After you get the social, you got the 12 videos. They're going to be enrolled in this automatically, so you don't have to think about it. And at least a year, and then they're going to see your content now all the time.
Yeah. I also feel like there should be a quarterly, like, I talk about markets so much and like bite-sized details to the agents. That is such an easy thing to like, if I just shot one extra video, it would take me 3 minutes, and that could be my quarterly, like, hey, checking in, here's what's going on. Everyone loves, like, New Yorkers love to hear about the market.
So let me give you an alternative thought to that is going to be a little bit interesting.
Okay.
You film a quarterly, like I love it. So let's write down quarterly market update.
And in my style, not like,
Yep.
so this is like, like.
And you put it on social, of course, right? You'll share it on social. Then you transcribe it, clean up the language, put it in a newsletter, physically print it with a QR code to the video, and mail it to all the realtors and all your past customers.
Cool.
Now they get a quarterly update from you that they can read, or they can click the QR link on their phone and they can watch you being you, talk through it.
Okay.
This is part of the like staying top of mind, like leveraging digital because you put it on social. But you have to remember, just because you put it on social doesn't mean everyone saw it.
Yeah.
So distribution is different than just posting. So one way to distribute this stuff is email, but now it's in, which is fine, but now it's in someone's email and they get 1,000 emails and maybe spam moved it. But now it's like, no, here, like this, and they're like, oh, so like just think about it and find out what feels right to you. But like that's a strategy that will get attention.
Okay.
And so now, if you have your past customers getting a video from you once a month, they're connected to you on social, they're seeing all your content, and once a quarter they get a actual physical thing with a video, you're crushing it.
Yeah.
Now, the big part in all this is the ask.
The hardest part
It's not.
for me.
Fair for me. But it also is the most important part. You need to get referrals from these people. So you got to ask.
The ask is what I wrote down.
I wrote down ask and circled it a bunch. So let me give you thoughts to integrate, okay? Do you make your living off people that you do loans for? Yes. So do the people that you do loans for effectively change your life?
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah.
So your ability to go and thank them for affecting the change in your life and giving you a lifestyle and giving you all the things that it gives you, I think is an underrated marketing tool that people aren't using. I'll tell you how I did it in the sense that I want you to put your spin on this. Every quarter, I wrote a personal newsletter to my book of business and the top 100 agents. And in that personal newsletter, I talked about what was going on in my life. Now, first of all, immediately people are like, overshare, TMI, don't like you. In which case I said, good, don't like me.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I do it anyways when I'm in person with them, so like.
So I just wrote like, I remember like, I got a new car. I remember when I bought my first condo. I remember when I got married. I remember when I brought my dog home for the first time. Like I remember like all these things that I would share, you know, and obviously every quarter there's not some big life event.
Yeah.
But in the middle of it all, and the intent of this all was to say to my past customers and the realtors that worked with me, thank you, because you giving me a loan changed my life.
Yeah.
Like you giving me a try, you giving me an opportunity, you referring a friend to me, you referring a customer to me, helped me like live the life that I'm living. I'm really grateful. And by the way, every time you refer someone to me, it means so much to me. And if you ever come across anybody, I promise to give them the same care I gave you. I'm definitely asking.
Yeah.
In that is a bunch of ask.
Yeah.
But it's not like, didn't come off like commission breath.
Yeah.
So play with an idea like that of thanking the community that's supporting you, thanking the customers and the realtors, and weaving in the fact that because of their ability to refer people to you, it's helped your life, and thank you.
Yeah, totally.
And so now, figure out how often to do that. I think quarterly is appropriate. You know, because all these great mortgage coaches have these scripts where they're like, and if I did a good job for you, would you refer me 3 people? And it's like, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It didn't feel authentic to me.
Or wait, can we break? The best compliment is a referral.
Ever receive is a referral from my.
I hate that shit.
So don't do it, but I'll give you another example of the ask. Let's say you've done the work with your past customers and you've connected them on social, okay? And you're making content, and you're making content, and you're making content. And then finally, you make another piece of content about whatever, and at the end you go, hey, by the way, for all of those that I've done loans for and that I've helped out, will you send this video to somebody that I can help? It would mean a lot to me. It would really help. It's a huge, you're asking.
Yeah.
But and I don't feel like you're doing it in a way that'd be unauthentic to David. I think like you could roll that at the end of a video. Be like, you know what would actually really help me? Is it, you know, because all these videos you're doing are designed to help other people.
Yeah.
Solve their problems. So just, I would have either in wherever you work or whatever you're processing, it's like, where do I put the ask in? And how do I do it in a way that's really David? But back to customers, I would write down how to be more, what do I need to do to be more strategic with my customers? And then go, okay, should I get them something every single month? Yeah, I want to do that. Should I send them something in the mail quarterly? Yeah, I want to do that. And it doesn't mean that you immediately start doing those things. But if you put them on the board and you look at them every day, you'll be like, I got some bandwidth. I'll solve that. I'll tackle that one right now.
Yeah.
Okay?
The one that I have that looming is always, it's like a Staples order for thank you cards that I've never put through.
So, you want to know my thank you card strategy? I had 2. I'd go to open houses and broker previews every week.
Okay.
And then on Monday, I'd come in with all the flyers from the houses.
Yeah.
And I'd have 7 to 10 flyers. And then I'd get my thank you cards. And I'd go, Dear Mr. Whitehead, it was great meeting you at 125 Trabuco Canyon Hills. You know, what a great house. Love a chance to earn your business or get a meeting with you. Here's my card because I'm sure you threw away the one I put on your desk. You put on the counter. Next one. And then at every closing, every month, I took my list. I'd type them into ACT database, and I'd write a thank you card.
Okay.
But, you know, that's because I'm amazing, and it just depends on how amazing you want to be. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's go to local. 2 more to go.
Local.
Where do you live?
I live in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Do you hang out in Brooklyn?
A ton.
Where do you hang out?
I hang out a ton at my favorite coffee shop called Partners.
Yep.
If anybody wants to send me iced coffee from Partners.
Go on.
I hang out at a bunch of local bars.
Yeah, absolutely.
I frequent quite a bit all the restaurants. So we have an amazing amount of restaurants in Williamsburg.
Yep.
Pizza every Friday.
Yep. Love it.
And I also, in the city, in Manhattan,
Yep.
I'm a member of this place called Classic Car Club.
Cool.
And that's a fun place to frequent.
It's
They have a
awesome.
Great,
Meet people, hang out.
Yeah, totally.
Anything else stand out to you?
And then I many hours at our office.
At the office, yeah.
Yeah.
But outside the office, coffee, bars, restaurants, pizza, Classic Car Club.
Yeah, and I walk the dog. Like, you meet so many people walking, like,
Dog walk.
yeah, it's a thing.
What kind of dog do you have?
It's Corey's dog, but we have a beagle. I'm a stepdad.
Step doggy dad.
Yeah.
All right. So, at all these places you hang out, do they know that you're a badass mortgage professional?
Car club, yes. Not at the coffee place.
Why yes to Car Club first? Let's unpack that.
I bring agents there, and then the staff found out that I do what I do, and then it got to like the son's owner.
Good.
I did his mortgage.
Good. Okay, we'll put that aside. What about the rest of the places? The bars, the club, the coffee, the restaurants?
Not really at the bars, because, I'm not like, vodka soda, hey, do you want a mortgage?
Fair.
But at partners, I don't either. Like, because I go at 7:30 in the morning, and I'll be honest, I'm a bitch.
You're a
in the
zombie.
morning.
Yeah.
It's just, you can bleep that out. But it's, yeah.
Leave it in.
It's, I am, she nasty.
Yeah, okay.
And so, but actually I run into a lot of people at partners. So like
you
a
do.
lot of the agents that live in the
You're
neighborhood
there all the
too.
time.
Yeah. And so.
Where do you host these local meetings?
Like the teaching of at
Yeah.
the wine bar, that's on the Upper East Side. It's called Ed Elbow's room. It's really cute.
Okay.
On the Upper East Side. Where else? And then it just kind of rotates.
Okay. So and then what do you do for fun?
What's fun?
Yeah, exactly. Do you have any hobbies outside of mortgage and coffee?
Right now, no.
Yeah.
I have a house upstate
Okay.
in upstate New York in the Catskills, so I frequent that a bit. And I love all the things around there. And I've gotten to meet some agents up there, and they're sending me business, which is really nice.
What's your involvement with the LGBTQ movement?
So I'm part of the board of the Alliance, and we host events. We're going to start doing a lot more trainings, things like that. So it's all going to be kind of stuff I'm already doing. We're kind of expanding into that.
Yeah. Any connection to your profession in that, or is it just pure altruistic?
No, so the Alliance is to expand, is the LGBTQ Real Estate Alliance. So it's all real estate.
Great.
Agents, attorneys, and I'm on the board for New York City.
Great. Killer. Okay.
I also have one other thing I'm involved in, which is the NADP, National Association of Divorce Professionals. I've never been divorced, but I can help you. It's another organization I'm part of.
Any other charities or organizations?
That's kind of it for right now.
Good. It's fantastic. So here's a headspace I want you to kind of start playing with.
Okay.
Okay. We get so focused on our partners, which is great, and we should be focused on our past clients. Smart. And then as you and I are going to continue to explore, like digitally, there's opportunity to expand reach, influence. But locally is another area that's way under leveraged traditionally by loan officers.
Yeah.
Because we just go out and talk to realtors and we forget all the other stuff that we're a part of and what we do. So, several thoughts, and we're just going to go broad and let you kind of drill in.
Okay.
Okay? On the broadest scope, an opportunity exists at the places you frequent to figure out how to do some creative marketing in those places where you're already going to be all the time.
Genius.
Right? It feels like you're like, oh my God, why am I
No,
not
I'm
doing
just like
this?
thinking like, I didn't want to like put this out there, but one of the bars I go to a lot
Yeah.
is an LGBTQ bar.
Sure.
And I have a lot of agents that love that bar,
Yep.
and I run into them all the time.
Yep.
So I'm like, why don't I just proactively be like, I'm hosting a happy hour, come meet me.
So you got local events,
Yep.
no brainer. Thinking
Yeah.
drinks, pizza Fridays. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, Pizza Fridays.
and then again, think about local events. Okay, I'm glad. Like, write this shit down. Come on.
Yeah, sorry.
Like, you can rewatch this, but like, your ability to just go invite people to this creates leads for you, even if they
Yeah.
don't come, right? Even if they never come to it, you're still like, they're all gonna be like, man, David, he's just such a great connector of community.
Yeah.
He brings all these people together all the time. Like, I love this guy. I'm going to give them business. So local events, no brainer. I think that you should be hosting one every 90 days. And you can invite not just your agents, you can start inviting your community, your customers to them, depending on the appropriateness of it. You can invite the customers in. Because, like, look at this topic of think and drinks. You're already a class guy, you teach classes.
Yeah.
But imagine now saying, hey, we're going to be hosting a Pizza Friday, and I'm going to be bringing in an estate planner who's going to tell everybody why you need a will and a trust.
Yeah.
And invite all your past customers who a lot maybe are first-time home buyers to be like, hey, do you have these tools or not? If you don't, I'm going to record it, and I can send you a link to it afterwards if you DM me. But like, this is all rad stuff. So it can be you speaking. By the way, you can take some of this stuff and start hosting things on it and bring people together.
But what about for the divorce group? Also, I forgot to mention, we love going to movies. There's a really cool like dine-in movie situation in Brooklyn. I'm like, perfect examples like First Wives Club movie, hit the LGBTQ, then hit the divorce group.
Yeah.
I'm like, just bring it all together. Like small little theater.
Yep. Bring people together.
Mortgages and divorce.
My biggest hack on this is, perfect. Bring people together where you're already gonna be.
Yeah.
You're already gonna be there. And then so that's local events.
And hesitation is always like, well, I need my own time. Well, it's only 90 days. It's like, it's fine.
Yeah, every 90 days, you're fine. You have plenty of time.
Yeah.
Now, other fun things is local marketing at these places. For example, how hysterical would it be if you went to the bar that you frequent all the time and you said, look, I want to pay to have my face on a coaster, on the coasters. This is out of the box, and maybe it's not your brand. So you but like, you know, what could you do that could be like very David and bring like now when you go there, you're like the mayor of like you own the bar, you know. And some of these times, for some of it's like going to the local bar owner and being like, hey, what nights suck for you? And like Wednesdays. It's like, well, what if I did an event on Wednesdays and we took over this side of the room? Would you kick in some appetizers for free if I bought some drinks? And you know, this is the stuff that you should just really lean into. It's perfect for your personality, and you're already there at these places. So start messing around with what you could do.
Okay.
Let me give you some more examples that are wild. We talked about podcasting for a little bit during lunch, which was not filmed. You could do a mobile podcast concept where you would go to local businesses, bars, restaurants, pizza places, coffee shops, and you'd interview the owner. And you would ask them a series of questions like, how'd you get started? What's your favorite drink on the menu? You know, I'll help you with the list, but imagine just general stuff.
Yeah.
Then you can start sharing this with your realtors and past customers. Like, hey, you're a past customer of mine, I want to introduce you to my favorite coffee shop. Hey, you're a realtor that in the market, you want to know where the best pizza is? It's right here. You know, and now you're like the mayor of this whole area, and all you're doing is spreading connection. Now, you don't even need to talk about mortgage. Everyone knows that you do mortgages. You could be sitting there with a Loan Depot shirt on.
Yeah.
But like this thought of just human connection through content and supporting these businesses is unbelievable. Even catching content with the Alliance and producing content with that group about expanding everyone else's businesses and supporting each other is an easy way to step into localized like marketing.
Exactly. Shoot.
So play with this stuff, but like in my opinion, this is a wide open field for you to dominate.
Like my head's just like flowing with ideas right now. It's cool.
It's fun, huh?
Yeah.
Now, this is where we wrap it all up in digital. We're in the final segment here. I wrote down. I told you this in the thing about like documenting, but I want you to write down documenting. Sometimes we get so caught up in trying to think of the great hook, the great intro, the great video, and the real opportunity is just documenting what's already going on. Mm-hmm. And so you're solving problems every day. You're speaking multiple times a month in front of groups of people.
Yeah.
You're supporting businesses and professionals in your ecosystem, not just the ones that you frequent, but also in the Alliance. And so you now just getting the camera more active on sharing those stories, sharing the problems, showcasing the market updates.
Yep.
All of a sudden now, figuring out if you want to do a podcast of some kind, because even if, let's say you didn't want to do one on this business concept, you wanted to be real estate centric. You could do a podcast on real estate centric topics and bring in agents and bring in attorneys and bring in appraisers and bring in ancillary side businesses that affect the process, and immediately have at least one episode a month, 12 episodes in your back pocket almost instantaneously. And now you can take that and you can cut up into snippets and share it out, and you can release the episodes, and you can send it out in an email or send it out in a written piece to your past customers and distribute it differently. All of a sudden now, your social strategy has you showing up multiple times a day on a platform.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to change your life.
Yeah, totally.
But after documenting, I want you to put up batching. Batching is the other strategy that's going to save your life. You being able to film a chunk of content like you did with this team yesterday in one sitting, and then having it in your bank for the month,
huge,
is going to save your ass when you're just busy.
Yeah.
And so finding the right tools and resources to help you do that is obviously important, but if you're actually doing 1 to 4 presentations a month, and you're going to continue on the strategy you're doing with social today, and then you layer in a podcast potentially, which is once a month, or something like you did yesterday where you just batch for half a day. You're going to have multiple pieces of content a day to share.
It's a lot, yeah.
And you're going to be like, well, I didn't really change much. I just started documenting all this stuff I was already doing.
Yeah.
And now it's crazy.
Already I'm doing 1 hour a month of shooting with a videographer, just one, and I crank through, and that's getting us 3-4 posts a week.
Yeah.
And then I started doing with agents, and instead of, I've been documenting whatever we're doing, like home buyer seminars, or we did a training on new construction condos.
Yeah.
Documented that.
Yeah.
And when I get super busy, what I tell the agents, and this is I love this concept, I have them post the videos and they add me as a collaborator, and then it goes on my feed.
Yes, genius. So I think that if you look at all this stuff from partners, right? Partners, past clients, local, digital, and you just took your notes and you watched this session again, and you just kind of go, okay, what can I whiteboard and how can I put some strategy things up that are going to be important to me, and build out a monthly attack plan here. I think that your reach and influence is just, the sky's the limit.
Cool.
And you can do so much here when you really don't need to. You can do just little pieces and get huge lift.
Totally.
So I think this was an important part to kind of talk through, because when we start to come up with content ideas and share content, it's got to fit into the macro.
Yeah.
It's got to fit into the overall strategy you're trying to accomplish here, and you understanding what you want to do, what you could do, what you are doing, and where's maybe the opportunity to shift or evolve.
Yeah.
I think that this is getting a little off topic, but I think it's important for you to wrestle with, which is, looking at the current market and deciding where you should evolve. You have a natural connection to the LGBT community.
Yeah.
They're not just in New York City.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, that sounded terrible. They're everywhere.
They're coming for you. If you're watching this in the South, be careful. I'm kidding. Cut that.
But this is what's an amazing opportunity in a natural community are there people in other connecting states and markets that are dealing with life that are part of this community that you could easily speak into and be like, I have solutions for you.
Yeah.
Yes, you have NYC specific solutions, which are amazing, and you should talk about co-op, condo, yes. But you also just know how to do loans in any community.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be another interesting thing to play with, is how do you expand that reach into other markets? And we're not tackling that today, but I really want it on your radar.
No, that's totally huge, because a lot of the people I serve in New York, we end up going to Connecticut, New Jersey, all over, because New York
They
gets
move.
expensive.
They move.
And they want to be, or
Yep.
different life. Actually, we get a lot of people coming to California, Florida, right?
Yep.
So I'm licensed in those states too. So I'm seeing a lot of that transition as well.
Yeah, and that's a place where maybe as we go into content strategy, and we didn't put it on the board, but maybe one of your topics is relocating.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a playlist on YouTube. Hey, relocating to New York, relocating out of New York. And you make a bunch of content, evergreen content, around those topics.
Genius.
So, I mean, I had a buddy who built, this is going to get tangential, but there's so many ways to skin the cat here.
Yeah.
Like, I literally think this local strategy, throw everything else out, you could probably double your business by just pouring into some of these things here, right? Like, so now it's like, oh my God, past client ideas, and so it's baby steps. But this guy was making a lot of content, doing okay, not blowing down doors, but then he started to make content about what it's like to move to Las Vegas. And he would take his buddy, his videographer, around to different communities in Vegas and film the communities inside them. And then he'd go and film the local like strip mall or whatever and be like, oh yeah, there's the Chick-fil-A here. And like literally he would just be like, what it's like to live in blank, blank city in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Ended up crushing for him. Crushing. To the point that people would be like, I'm relocating to Vegas because I want whatever, tax, benefit, and I've been watching your videos because I was Googling, what do I need to do to move to Vegas? And your videos came up. And so I'm not trying to make you him or make anybody else, but this is the opportunity in this space where it's so hyper personalized to what you care about that you can just pick some of these lanes and just go all in on it and make a huge impact.
What's so funny is I think I don't see it every day, but when I come to California or talk to people and I say oh yeah, I work in the city, but I also live in Williamsburg, and they're like, oh my, Williamsburg is blown up in the last few years, right? And it's the coolest place to be. And so I don't see that because I just every day do my thing, right? Yeah. But now I think about it, I'm like, I should just have my videographer follow me around for a day and be like, here's a day in the life in New York City.
Absolutely.
And it's like me on the L train, look at all the chic people, me getting my $7 coffee, look how much money I'm spending on coffee.
Yeah.
And
so let's hit that for 1 second as we wrap down. Because as we get into filming content now and getting into that stuff, there's a really important distinction is all your content has to be about mortgages. It's a great conversation.
And right now it's too heavy on it. It's boring me.
It's wonderful that you have the insight. So back to humans being rounded, right? And have multiple things they care about. There needs to be a balance. Yeah. If you're just straight mortgage guy, then there's not a lot to connect to.
Yeah. It's not who I am.
I can connect maybe to your personality and how you talk about mortgages. So if you're funny or you're witty, I can connect there. But I don't get to see the other pieces of you that matter. And so when you start to introduce content that is directionally appropriate, I really want you to hear me on this, or anyone listening, please hear me on this. When you start to think, I've watched people that make content and it was very on lane for what they want to do in life. They want to help people make good mortgage decisions. I'm like, great, get in there. Yeah. And then they start to shift into personal life, workout routines or and people are like, who do you think you are now? Are you an influencer? What do you here's my get ready with me routine. Yeah. And I'm like, do I want to get ready with you? But what's directionally helpful? So a day in the life of you in New York. Yeah. If somebody's considering moving to New York, I'd want to watch that. That's directionally helpful for me. Because you can talk about the mortgage aspect of New York and the different down payments and the co-ops, and that's good. But I'm also kind of exploring what is it like to live there? Yeah. So if you did a day in the life and wove in, mortgage hacks or information or real estate information or just it would feel congruent. Does that make sense? Yeah. But the second you disconnect from that congruency and it's you're living the influencer life, people are like, what am I watching? What is this person doing?
I could also make it my own funny, today I had a rough day. I could do that soft voice making fun of the influencers.
You could.
Today I had a rough day. And then it's me with a cupcake from Magnolia Coffee.
By the way, it'd also be really funny. It'd be really funny to be today I had a tough day as a mortgage professional. And you could talk about what you did. I had a client who did so then I'm treating myself to a nice coffee. And so everyone knows, oh, you do mortgages and this is kind of a fun parody. But they're also seeing New York. They're seeing what it's like. So my point is find uniquely your voice in there, but just don't lose sight of your purpose.
Okay. I'll have fun with that, and that's
You
like
should have fun.
that to me is like it's entertaining. It's entertaining for me. If I'm having fun doing it, then I know the audience will
Yes.
too, right?
So back to the one thing on this. Let's end on this.
Okay.
From the local events to following up with your past customers to all the things you're going to start wanting to do and integrating to the videos we're going to make.
Yep.
What is the point? Because you got to come back to that every time. You got to come
Yeah.
back to that every time. Like
Point for them or for me?
For you, why are you doing any of this crap? Why bring people together and have a thing and drink? Why make a video? Why do any of this stuff?
Kind of like from a sentimental point, because I'm a provider. I'm providing.
So, in other words, you're helping people
Yeah.
and you're providing them solutions and ideas, happiness, education, some levity, all this stuff. My point is, never forget this, because the second the camera becomes about you, you've lost your purpose,
Yeah.
and no one's going to care, because there's enough people making videos about themselves on the internet.
Yeah.
But if you, every time you're about to hit record, every time you're making something funny, every time you're going to do an education piece, every time if you're like, I am here to provide, I'm here to be a provider, I'm here to help, is this helping? I think it'll ground you, and it'll make sure that the stuff that you're like, then screw this video, let's do these things.
Yeah.
And I think it'll help you stay grounded.
Okay.
That make sense?
And grounding just because I asked for hair and makeup earlier? Or
Yes, 100%. There's so many people that step into content and make the same mistake, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden now, I'm like, it's all about them. And I'm like, well, when did this become about you, man? Like, it's about the people you're trying to help and influence. It's not about you.
Yeah.
And you've missed it because it's such a narcissistic world in social and everywhere else.
I'm just like cracking, like while I'm looking through this real quick.
Yeah.
The local stuff. Remember I said I was like, oh, I don't really like do anything with the local. But like every time I'm out, I see people. And guess what? Anytime I'm out with people, they're like, hey, nobody asks for your number anymore. They're always like, hey, can I have your
Yeah.
Insta, right? And so now I think about it. I was at one of the bars and somebody came up to me like, hey, I noticed you're talking a lot more about work. It made me think I need to have a meeting with you. I'm thinking about buying the next year. So like this whole local piece, like, and I'm just like,
You're going to kill it too. You have the perfect personality for it. You already love it. You love being with people. You love connecting.
Yeah.
You're going to blow this up. All right, you ready to make some content?
let's go.
Okay, let's go. Boom. Okay, time to remove all excuses of what to make. Now you're naturally good at making content. I've seen you out there, and so we're gonna drill the strategy down in 2 layers. Number 1, we're gonna talk about what to say,
Okay.
and then 2, we're gonna talk about how to say it. And then and then from there, I want you to play with it, because remember the first meeting we had this morning was about like making it your own.
Yeah,
Like not
exactly.
trying to copy what other people do, not trying to like break the algorithm and like, oh, this is what. But at the same time, it doesn't mean we should be ignorant of like what's trending and what's working and what's really happening. But how do we make sure that it stays authentically us?
Agreed.
So that's it's a challenge. So let's first talk about how to come up with ideas of what to say. Do you ever struggle in that area, or do you feel like you got that kind of down?
I could talk someone's ear off, so I feel
I know,
like,
you're pretty good at talking. So this will be more of an educational process for those that are like following along. But let me take you through the process.
Yep.
Because then you might integrate it in a unique way into your strategy.
Yeah. Now organizing my thoughts, totally different.
Totally.
So this is why it's important.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about that cohort or the ideal avatar that you love to work with. And so let's revisit that again. You said self-educated millennials who realize they still need there's value in an advisor.
Yep.
So, what do they not know? Like, what are their struggles of that cohort? And by the way, are they a first-time home buyer or a second or in your market?
Yeah. So for my market in New York City, sadly, most of these millennials are first-time home buyers.
They are
Because
first-time
It's
home
just
buyers.
it's a big hurdle.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the biggest issues in New York is no matter what the banks allow and products that exist, the market will not absorb or allow it.
Right.
So for example, if you want to put 5% down or 10% down, there's a lot of buildings that will not allow it at all. So that's like, a big problem. So it's like the point of entry is going to be how much down payment. And then the second point of entry is explaining our market's product, which is going to be condominiums, right?
Yep.
And then there's another massive, almost 70% of what trades in Manhattan are buildings that are called co-ops or
Yep.
cooperatives. And so educating on what a co-op is going to require, and there's a lot of nuances to co-op that I'm an expert in,
Yep.
and that's what I teach pretty much 75% of my time.
Okay, so these are major points of conversation. Down payment's a major point.
Correct.
What are the other lesser known points that are still important that these people don't know about?
I have to educate on, I like to put things in 5 milestones for a mortgage for New York: credit, income, assets, building approval, and appraisal. So building approval is a huge one, getting a building approved through the bank. And then back to the co-op itself has additional hurdles, financial.
I missed one. Credit, income, assets, building approval, and
appraisal.
Appraisal.
And then on the co-op side, if I were to branch this out, I would say we have to teach the clients about debt to income ratio. And I hate that I have to teach that.
Well, so let's do this. So there's DTI here,
Yep.
specific to co-op.
Correct?
There's also DTI specific to
Bank.
other product.
Other product, yeah.
Other
Yep.
building product.
And then in addition, co-ops have a post-closing reserve requirement that is very different than the bank. So post-closing reserves.
Okay.
So when I teach credit, income, assets, building approval, appraisal, I tell them, here's what the credit requirement is for the bank, here's what it is for a co-op. Here's the income for requirement for the bank, here's what it is for a co-op. So I almost like do a side-by-side comparison.
Yep.
And if I were really good, I would be able to send them a little, thing afterwards. But for right now, what I do is this is such an expert piece that I take this information and I follow up with the agent with that.
Are condos different as well, or are condos the same as these?
Condo is going to be the same as the bank in general.
Yep.
There's one small caveat.
Yep.
They still can have an overlay on what they want their down payment to be. So condos, in theory, I should be able to put down 3 to 5%, but most condos still want 10.
Yep.
So that's one of the things about New York City is
Different.
Yeah.
Okay. What are we missing on this list?
For first-time homebuyers,
Yeah. Any
I also
nuance?
get a lot of first-time homebuyers that rent. They have like a cheap rent in the city, so like under $5,000.
Yep.
And they don't want to buy a first home in the city. They actually want to buy a cabin upstate or a place out in Long Island or on the beach. So a second home. So renting and their first purchase is actually a second home.
Yep.
So I get a lot of questions on that.
And the second home, obviously, if we wanted to make a second category over here, right? Mm-hmm. Second home purchase is going to have the same stuff, right? Down
Yep.
payment.
Correct. Different requirements for that.
Yep. Income. I mean, the list goes on, right?
Yep.
It's the same stuff over here, but we know the guidelines are just a little different.
There's one more big piece about first-time home buyers that I teach, and that's going to be, it is quite an affluent area, so we tend to see a lot of generational wealth transfer, aka a gift.
Yep.
So I teach a lot on gifts and how that process looks.
Great. Anything else for first-time home buyers?
I can keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Tell me what else. I mean, we don't want to make an exhaustive list, but if it's
Yep.
top of the head.
So income, a lot of our buyers get bonus income or restricted stock units. So they get nervous about their income because it's not straight, here's my salary. Like they get a salary plus a bonus plus restricted stock. It's a little bit more complicated. So they get nervous about talking through that. And so I coach them on, here's how we're going to evaluate that. Here's what we're going to look for and get them a lot more comfortable with the numbers.
Okay, so outside of first-time home buyers and the people that are technically first-time home buyers, but they're buying a second home.
Yep.
Any other product types that you end up bumping into? Investments?
Yeah. So
Do you bump into investment?
we tend to see right now, we're going to call it the buy up crowd.
Yeah.
So the people that bought prior to like maybe even in 2021 and before, they own a piece of real estate with low interest rate.
Yep.
They're sitting on a ton of equity.
Yep.
But it's hard to save in New York.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't have enough money to put down 20% for the next place. And so I'm either going to sell and buy at the same time, or I'm tapping into equity so that they can buy into the next place. So we're going to call them the buy ups.
Yep.
I get a lot of those people.
Okay. So now let me do one more area over here, and I'm just going to carve it out down here because we save some space. Current events.
Okay.
What's uniquely happening in the market today, even specific to New York or other areas, that you're dealing with?
We have a tale of two cities in New York. We have properties that are not moving,
Okay.
sitting on the market for more than 30 days. And then the opposite, we have properties that are going live and getting accepted offers within days.
Yep.
And they're going for well over ask.
Those are great topics.
Okay.
What else is
The
kind
other hottest topic right now is Fannie Mae implemented engineers reports for condos and co-ops.
Yeah.
And so there is a specific law in New York called Local Law 11 where they check the facades. And Fannie Mae never used to ask for that, but as of last year, Fannie Mae is now asking for engineers reports or structural soundness. And so I have to educate a lot on that because a client will be super excited to buy in a building.
And they got a problem.
And then I go onto the municipality and
Yep.
check, and it's unsafe for the municipality, and now we have to.
So in this whole list of stuff, what are the biggest problems you're solving for on a regular basis? What's coming up the most?
Can they, for the agent specifically, it's condo versus co-op,
Yep.
right? Very different.
So these are the big ones right now.
Correct. That's like the one that I probably speak on. If I have
And deal
20
with.
calls a week,
Yeah.
I'm speaking 18 times on condo versus co-op.
Anything else that is a major topic that you're dealing with on a regular basis?
Right now, it's the engineers reports.
Yeah.
I'm teaching this
Yeah.
because this is frequent. So I would love to actually film a video while I'm here.
Yeah, we might do that.
Okay, because I'm getting asked to do this. I'm going on a roadshow with this,
Yeah.
and I'm speaking on it every single week.
Okay. So the exercise we just went through is something that you should figure out works best for you, but implement. So what's happening for most originators and most people that are like, you obviously know your stuff, like very clearly in just whatever minutes we've spent, like you know your stuff. These are all contents for video.
Great.
These are all topics for video, especially if you're teaching classes on it. We'll talk about how to turn that into video content.
Mm-hmm.
But these are all topics for content, meaning you should have a place where you're storing this stuff.
Okay.
Because as you're living it,
Yeah.
you should be documenting it.
Yeah. Remember what I said earlier is like, I do the same thing over and over again. Sometimes
Yes.
I just want to, so this is like perfect.
Yes. So almost like, have a little black content book or have a website like a Google Drive where you just type in ideas and you store them by topic.
Okay.
You store them by what people are going through. That's how you kind of sort this into your head. Like, who are the people, and then what are they dealing with?
So I've been using OneNote.
Great.
And don't think I haven't watched your previous episodes. Click down here for more. I've been watching yours. So I have been creating a list on OneNote, and every time an idea pops in my head, I'm going back and adding.
Yeah, and I would also, so a nuance then is also to, either with tallies or highlights, as you're bumping into the same topic, start either positioning them higher on the list or noting that these
Okay.
are like active topics. Because certain things heat up and cool down. Like we asked, like what's really hot right now? Well, this is clearly brand new, so it's very hot.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be evergreen hot for a long time because of New York.
He said brand new.
Oh, God.
Come on, this is so. Like,
We get a point. We get a point. So once you have this down, you realize that there really is no shortage of stuff for you ever to talk about.
No.
Because you're always going to be solving problems. You're always going to have a nuance, and then you open up OneNote and you're like, here's the nuance.
Correct.
Here's a new thing to talk about. And you're going to have to talk about this a lot. A lot, because we're going to get into frequency in a minute. Because one of the questions was like time and frequency and how often.
Yeah.
Frequency has to be super high because of the nature of social media, which is a scrolling environment. So they're not watching all your videos. And you're like, Alec, you're telling me to do video. They're not watching it.
Yeah.
They're scrolling by it.
Correct.
So you're getting a micro impression, which is awesome.
Great.
They're seeing you. They're seeing you with your coffee. They're seeing you being yourself. They're building brand recognition with you. But it doesn't mean they're getting the knowledge from this topic. So you have to keep coming back to it in different nuance and different ways. Not posting the same video, but like just sharing more about it over and over to really penetrate into somebody's brain. Because
Okay.
that's the nature of these platforms.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
totally.
Now, if we let's segregate this for a second and talk about YouTube versus like other social,
Okay.
right? So you got YouTube here and you got everything else over here. Okay? YouTube. Look how organized this hall is. It's so organized and clear for everyone watching. I hate this. But YouTube.
By the way, this is you're now seeing my brain on a wall, which is like, no wonder.
This we want to call evergreen, and this we want to call consumable.
Explain evergreen.
Yeah, absolutely. So think about YouTube as being your library.
Okay.
So if I walked into your house and you had a beautiful library in your office and all the books were organized where you knew where they were, and it was kind of like, let's just paint a pretend picture. This exists. But like, somebody comes into a library and they go, well, where do I need a book on condos?
Yeah.
And you're like, got you right here.
Got it.
And so you're talking about in a more formatized manner. Like this would be like a place for like a playlist, right? Where you might say, hey, here's everything you need to know about condos in NYC. And it'd be video, 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 video. And you would talk about credit, income, assets, building approval, engineering reports, and but it'd all be for somebody who's looking to buy a condo in NYC.
Great.
And then you'd say, okay, well, co-op, right? Bang, 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 bang. And you might make the exact same video from a topic perspective.
Yeah.
You might talk about DTI in both condos, co-ops, or SFRs or wherever, but the nuance is different, right? Per platform. So in a YouTube strategy, you can make content that could live forever, that you could forward to people. By the way, how about like what to expect in mortgage? Like all this BS you answer every time to somebody who's like, I want to get a loan, what do I need to do?
And also, how many times do I have to answer like, well, I'm looking for the best rate. Well, honey, not every loan is the same. Like you may be going for the best rate, but they're charging you 2,000, extra points or whatever, blah, blah.
100%. So now you can make a walkthrough almost on all these different topics for this.
Ooh, I love that.
And now it's so now it's like almost like you're the librarian. Someone comes in and goes, well, I have a question on this. You go, fantastic.
Right.
Here's all these resources. Or your realtors. Hey, you bump into a client who has XYZ questions. Here's all these resources for you.
Cool.
Now that's evergreen. Consumable is that feeling of I'm walking down the street with my coffee and this is on my mind because I just had a client who fell in love with a house and that got killed. And so it's like I gotta educate you on this.
Yeah.
Like you have to understand how this is coming into play in NYC and what it's doing. Don't make this mistake this client just did. Or I had a client that was trying to buy a condo and then they flipped to a co-op, and now the whole thing's different.
Yeah.
Or down payment. I had somebody who doesn't understand that this is going on, and so this is consumable, meaning it's meant to be like kind of watched and scrolled through. You're not going to store it on YouTube in your library to feed back to somebody. And then if you look at the style of these, they can be very different.
Totally. Okay.
And they don't have to be. Don't get caught up on that. You could do all of this condos stuff walking. You could do it sitting behind a desk. You could do it in a park. But I don't want you to feel like it has to be like in a classroom style, like teaching.
Yeah.
It can be in whatever format. But just think of it as this is a book you can pull off a shelf. This is a pamphlet you're handing to somebody, and they're probably going to read it and throw it away.
Yep. Okay.
Make sense?
Got it. Yeah. I already have like a million more ideas like flowing through my head.
Good. So what we'll do is we'll take a picture of this at the end, but then start building it in your OneNote. Start building it out in their OneNote. And, God, I wish we had other people. Just collaborate with others.
Yeah.
Like, collaborate with others.
When you
Collaborate
say
with
others, like
realtors.
Yep.
Other loan officers. Be like, what are you dealing with? What are your problems? And a realtor would be like, oh, I have all these problems. I'm like, damn, those are good content ideas. Like, how many of these can I make a video on?
Also,
and
we
store?
have managing agents in New York who manage the buildings, and they take forever. And so everyone, including me, complain about it. But like, what if I actually ask them, like, what would help move the deal faster?
Yeah.
Right. So in New York, we have an attorney on the deal, and the attorney has to go to the managing agent and get all this information. And so in New York, it takes 2 weeks to go into contract.
By the way, so talk about a piece of evergreen content in the mortgage process.
Yep.
Right? In NYC, that's a video.
Yeah, you're
'Cause
right.
no one knows. I need an attorney. I mean,
Yeah.
God forbid you have a transplant from the West Coast who's like, well, we use escrow. What the fuck's attorney doing?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so that's a video. Then all these things are part of this process that you get to share about and talk about. And very quickly you realize that there's a
Ton.
million things you can talk about. And this is where it gets into, what do you enjoy talking about, and what do you enjoy? Who do you enjoy serving?
Yeah.
This is just an example. The buy-up crowd.
Yep.
If you love those people, meaning that you just happen to connect with them better, you
Yeah.
enjoy what they're dealing with, you enjoy their problems, you enjoy solutioning it, and you hate working with the first-time home buyer who doesn't have any money.
Okay.
This is not
Yeah.
you, but I'm just saying, like, if that's you, then guess where your content's going to be? Like,
That, yeah.
start making it towards the people you want to attract. Now, there's a balance in this. If the people you want to attract aren't doing any loans in the marketplace, don't make videos about that.
So don't talk about renters and
Yeah.
renters and renters.
Yeah, I mean, it's not smart, right? Like,
Agreed,
you're passionate about it, but there's no loans there. Okay, well, maybe have some less passion and do some loans.
Yeah.
But this is where whatever you create's going to attract.
Okay.
Makes sense so far on this?
This is perfect. Like,
Consumable.
and funny enough, this all goes through my head. I never put it on a board or on paper. Like, I just use OneNotes every once in a while, and I just, like, if you look at my OneNotes, it's just garbage out, right?
Yeah.
And at least I have it somewhere, but it's
Yeah.
not organized. So the fact to even see this, it's great.
Yeah, okay. So keep the cameras rolling, but we're going to erase this. Mike, you can help me erase this so we can get to the next part of this, which will be a little movie magic part. Here, just help me wipe down some of this stuff. Give me a couple of these. So we can stay right here and go to the next segment.
Wax on.
I already took a picture, so we're good.
Movie magic. Just time lapse this.
Wow.
All right, so now we talked about, we still rolling? We back?
Yep.
All right, boom, clean. We talked about what to say. We have to talk about how to say it, because this is where nuance comes in.
Okay.
This is where people make mistakes, and this is where an opportunity exists to differentiate and to really, bring your own flavor to the game.
Great.
So here's the high-level problem. If I was a client and I sat down with you and we were I'm exploring if I want to do business with you, it's a very normal part of the conversation for me to ask qualifying questions.
Yeah.
Like, how long have you been in the business?
Yeah.
And what loans have you closed recently, and what's going on, and tell me about the market, and tell me about your products. And
How do you know the agent?
it's a very normal way to just qualify. And so the problem with that when you jump into social is loan officers are used to doing that. And so they immediately think they have to do that on video. And they start to introduce themselves. Hi, I'm Alec Hanson. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer. I've been doing loans for 22 years. It's garbage.
Yeah.
They're gone. The audience is gone. No one cares.
Nobody cares.
It's not the right time. If they're interested they'll look you up. If they want to validate you, they'll look you up. So we got to stop with the introductions and that stuff. And what we really have to do, and this is what I found to be the most effective, is we need an intro, which is more or less a hook.
Okay.
Okay. We need a story or an explanation.
Okay.
And then we need the close or the call to action. And this is what I've found today is kind of the most contemporary structure of a how to say something.
Yep.
And so let's just unpack it. The intro or the hook. Give me the solution. Give me the problem. Give me the area of concern. Give me the opportunity. Tell me what the hell the punchline is.
That's a lot in a hook.
Right now. Well, because they can be different things.
Yeah.
But tell me, what are we talking about?
Yep.
Like, what is going on? Like, why did you take time to make this thing? Tell me now.
Yeah.
Because that's going to determine if I watch the rest of it.
Okay.
So if you don't tell me now, I'm gonna get bored and I'm gonna scroll by you.
Yeah.
And if you tell me now I'm not interested, I'm gonna scroll by you. But at least I know what you're doing. So talk about like micro impressions, right? Let's say a customer is not ready to buy, but they're watching your stuff, and so you immediately are talking about down payment.
Yeah.
And the problem around it, and they're not interested in that yet, but they now know like, oh yeah, well David's super knowledgeable about this stuff.
Exactly.
Because I don't care, but he knows what he's talking about. Same with like a realtor watching it, etc. Then you transition to the story. And the reason I put story first is because people naturally are like, when you say, let me tell you a story, people are like, yeah, what's this? I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like, what's the story? Like, tell me something.
People are so nosy.
Oh, they love it. No, so there's a little, like, you have one video spilling the tea, and I bet it got a lot of views.
I spilled the tea a lot.
But that's what people want.
Yep, exactly.
They want to know. And then the close is just how you land the ship. How do you end the video so you're not like, bye? Like, how do you really
See ya.
Yeah, click. So let's come up with some of these for some of the areas we're talking about and kind of role play through this.
Perfect.
Give me a topic.
First-time homebuyer that is doing an online pre-approval with an online lender that has no experience in New York.
Great. And so what happens to those people? What's the problem? What's the area of concern? Like,
so my hook would be on that, like, don't let an online pre-approval blow up your opportunity to buy an apartment in New York.
yeah, and if you had to tighten that up.
Online pre-approvals are not going to get you an accepted offer.
Perfect.
Right?
No, that's literally perfect.
Yeah.
Like we're done. Okay, thank you everybody.
See ya. That's a wrap.
So hooks need to be concise. They need to be clear. They need to come down to like, and you have to figure out your level of, so if there's a 0 and 100, right?
Okay.
100 is, an online pre-approval is going to blow up any chance you have of buying a house in New York. Well, that's not totally true.
Yeah.
Like maybe not.
Yeah.
But like, so that's kind of like a clickbaity.
Yeah.
And so I would tell everybody, and yourself included, is to figure out where you're most comfortable landing.
Okay.
If you're like, no, I kind of like being clickbaity. I like kind of making people upset or like making them listen, then lean into that.
Okay.
If you're like, you know what, that's not really my personality. I'm not like a scaremonger.
Yeah.
I just want to educate people. Then you'd back the language up a little bit. But find your place to play in this range.
Okay.
And then you nailed the hook. So say it again. Do you remember what you
forgot.
said? I know. We didn't write it
Can we
down.
play it back?
It was online pre-approvals.
Oh, sorry. I can't even remember. This is
Okay, let's build it again.
All right. So online pre-approvals.
Pre-approvals.
What did I say? Will kill your chance at getting an accepted
I said
offer.
kill.
Oh, sorry.
Because I got
Yeah.
more aggressive. You were softer.
Yeah. Will hurt your ability will hurt your ability to get an accepted offer in New York.
Your ability to get.
Now, this is me being professional, right? If I were to say it to a friend, it would be a lot more.
What would you say to a friend?
Girl, what the hell are you doing? Don't do an online pre-approval. Nobody's going to accept that. You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding.
Like-
Watch. Girl, don't get an online pre-approval. No one's going to accept that.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Here's where you get to play. As going back to what we talked about in the beginning,
Yeah.
which is you want to attract people that are into what you do,
Yeah.
that vibe with you, that aren't going to give you shit and drama, right?
Correct.
You want those people, and
Well,
you want.
These are drama people. Okay.
Well, maybe you want a little drama.
Yeah.
I want to invite the kind of drama I like.
Exactly. There we go.
So my point in this is, you can actually do both these videos
Okay.
and see how they perform.
LinkedIn, Instagram.
Absolutely accurate. You can do the language of the profile.
Okay.
Also, though, if you did this on LinkedIn, trust me, there's these people are on LinkedIn too.
Yeah.
See, there's that. What's the meme right now? The person they think they're emailing and it
Oh,
has a
yeah,
LinkedIn
yeah.
photo,
Yeah,
and then the
it's so
actual
good.
is like they're like dressed as Dobby or some
Yeah.
shit.
It's really good.
This is where you, in this journey, since we're now content curious,
Yes.
is to just go, God, man, what if I really just said what I
Yeah.
thought?
Yeah.
What if I really said what I thought? What's going to happen? Well, I might offend some people, maybe.
Yeah.
But do I want to work with those people? I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe. And then you just find the line and push on it and just experience. Like, this is great.
And here's the thing, going back to PTSD from working at the big banks.
Yeah, for sure.
Like right now, I'm like, this is a disclaimer.
Yeah, this is the
because
line.
I'm not associated.
I
like-
can't say this.
So that's where I really need to lean into it, is because I still have that past. And so I bet a lot of people can resonate with that. So this is innovation for me.
And we should make both these videos today.
Yeah.
We should have
good.
some that are sassy.
Yeah.
And some that are just toned down a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, this is back to nuance. You can be both.
Yeah.
You can have multiple nuance to yourself. You're not just one. You don't have to be all here and with
One
a tie. Yeah, no, you can be multifaceted. Just don't be afraid of that. So let's take either of these.
Okay.
And then what's the story?
Perfect story. So I had a client, a first-time homebuyer, self-employed. He got pre-approved through his bank, and they sent him to Arizona online, right? And that bank said that he could get a loan for purchase up to $700,000.
Excellent.
And putting down 5%.
Perfect, which we know.
Okay. And guess what? The agent comes to me and was like, I don't know about this. And I was like,
Yep.
I go, girl, you got some problems.
Yep.
We got some explaining to do.
Yep.
Right?
You're dead.
And so what ended up happening when I actually looked at the client's tax returns, he ended up making $90,000,
Yep.
which would get us a loan of maybe, if we're lucky with the maintenance on the unit,
Yep.
maybe get us a loan of like $400,000.
Yep.
And by the way, we can't buy a co-op with 5% down.
So this guy's walking out there with a letter thinking he can buy $700,000
And guess
he
what?
can buy 4.
My agent just spent 2 days,
Showing him houses, showing him condos and whatever.
right?
Yep.
Running around the hot New York City weather. And like, this ain't a buyer that you're getting a black car. Like, this is like, you on the subway, honey. Like, it was a mess. She was pissed.
So this is where you're going to shine naturally, meaning you just, and where we're going to put the guide rails on is we want to keep the story, we want to tighten the story up.
I talk a lot.
And by the way, and then social, you have to remember people's attention span is low.
Yeah.
Now, they've chosen to watch, so that's a good thing. They've chosen to engage. And so you're not starting with the story, because then they're like, where are we landing on this? I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm talking, I don't know why I'm listening to this. But now they know why they're listening. They'll listen to you talk, and we'll play with the tightening of it. And then what would be your closer call to action? Now before you answer, not everything has to be a call me, I can do your deal.
Agreed.
Like
Yeah.
not everything should be like a, send me a DM and like follow and subscribe. But like, what would you say at the end of this?
It's real simple. Like, so, because this I'm speaking to my agents, right? That's who my audience would be. And I guess it could almost be to clients as well, but I think they get more curious if they know I'm speaking to the agent randomly.
Yep.
And so I would say, so agents, if you see an online pre-approval, do not consider it like as gold. Or like, there would be another hook there. But something along those lines, like that pre-approval is not what it is. Like,
yeah, so your close,
Bleh.
so one close could be the warning,
Yep.
which is just like, hey, you don't have to call me, but like just take another look.
Yeah.
Like before you just run around and show people a house.
Actually, I think I would say, so take a look at the pre-approval. It has an 800 number on it. It's probably not for you.
Yeah,
That's
perfect.
what I would say.
And then a call to action would be what?
Obviously, pre-approve with me. No.
Yes, but how would you say it? Yes,
I'd say
because
make-
look, let's be. You want them to. You want deals.
I would just say, like, and I do say this a lot, like without plugging myself. I'm like, just make sure you're working with someone local that knows co-ops.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Call me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like so what I'm trying to lean into here is, there are certain sales type people. I'm kind of one of them, who never ask for the business.
Guilty. I don't do it.
I can tell. So what I'm going to tell you to lean into is how do you start to do it in a way that's very David
Yeah.
and appropriate to you, but that actually does like have some risk to it, where you're like, so for example, a small way to lean into it could be, and I'm happy to review anything anytime.
Yeah.
So just send it my way. No
good.
pressure. Like
Yeah.
no pressure. Not going to try to mess up your deal, but I'm happy to have your back.
Yeah.
That could be like a no pressure way to be like, call to action. I'll review it.
I always teach the gut check. Like, if something's not sitting right,
Yep.
like, give me a call.
Yep.
And so that's kind of how I actually teach that in person. I'm like, I'm teaching, this is another gut check. If you're getting that sensation, like, let me review it.
Yep. But does this format make sense?
Love it.
Now, you said something really great. I got to call it out, which I messed up and didn't talk about. So thank you for being here and correcting me. Is before you start, you have to identify your audience.
Yeah.
And you made a natural call out because you're like, oh, this would be for realtors. Before we and you made another astute call out. It can be both.
Yeah.
You can be talking to both these audiences about this
Correct.
particular topic, but you absolutely have to know your audience before you go in, so that when you start to talk, it's directed at the right people.
Exactly.
Any questions on this?
No, I like again, I hate that I like structure because I want to be free, but this is good.
But this is your freedom right here. This is your freedom.
Okay.
And this is where you're naturally going to shine, because it's just like, let me tell you what's going on. And so this is don't go 17 hours long,
Yeah.
but like land the story. But like this is your area to absolutely shine.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be fun. You can introduce humor. You can kind of tease what's going on. You can provide solutions. Like all of it's right there for you.
I think the hardest part, like when I'm at a restaurant, I won't say, "Can I have more water?" I always say, "Would you be so kind to see if someone can get me some water?"
Yep. Swipe. They're gone.
Right.
They've
So
moved
now I
on.
gotta now I'm just gonna go to a restaurant and be like, "Water." No, I'm kidding. Like,
Now.
but that's where I'm facing the I could improve.
All right. So help me do a magic screen again. Whoop, come on. And then we'll film the last bit of this.
I want you to see what it feels like. I did it to the guys yesterday. They wrote a harassment thing for us later.
You guys don't have a skin?
A what?
Y'all don't have a skin routine?
They don't moisturize. Isn't that crazy?
All right. Magic screen. We're back. Here's how we're going to set us up for filming content.
Right.
So let's come up with 5 to 7 topics.
Okay.
And then we're gonna come up with the intro and the hook, and then we're gonna like have that all prepped.
Okay.
So that when we go to film, you're already kind of like, okay, got that part nailed down.
Great.
What's topic number 1?
Down payment.
Yep. Now, specific to this, because you could go lots of places on this.
Yep.
What is gonna be our hook or intro for this?
Every bank right now is advertising 3% down. And so I'm going to say advertisements for down payment are not created, do not always work in New York.
Let's make this more
Tighter
and maybe even a more dramatic.
Okay. See, again, I'm like trying to go along. I'm like, just because you see a down payment for 3% doesn't mean you're going to get this in the city.
Good? Yes, 100%. So let's tighten that up.
Okay. Seeing an ad for 3% down, not in New York.
Seeing an ad for 3% down,
Not in New York
not in New York.
City. New York
Now-
City. NYC.
Now, you can say this in other ways too. You can say, have you been seeing those ads for 3% down? It's not going to happen in New York City.
Correct.
So that was longer, wordier,
Yeah.
but it was still very tight in the sense that it was
Yeah,
like,
it was good. It's natural.
seeing this, seeing
That's
this.
the thing is also like when you say tighten it up, I want to be natural at it.
Yeah,
And I'm having a hard time with that.
yeah. All right, so that's a great one. What's another
Yeah.
topic here?
Closing costs are a big surprise in New York
Why?
because we have a mansion tax and we have a mortgage recording tax on condos and single families. So you could have like just for a basic 1 bedroom at $700,000-800,000 condo, you have almost $30,000 of closing costs.
What would be your intro?
I'm like, don't get caught with your pants down. The closing costs in New
good-
York are
good
super
thought.
expensive. But I want to be more proper on that. I would say, there's just a misconception. Like, you just need down payment to buy, and it's like closing costs just surprise you. So I would say, think you've saved enough for a condo purchase, or think you've saved it. I don't want to. That's kind of negative. I was gonna say, think you saved enough. Think again.
Yeah,
But,
so maybe a little too negative.
yeah. Having a hard time with this one.
That's okay. So let's go back to, you said something like a keyword, shocked
Yeah.
or surprised,
Yeah.
right? People are shocked and surprised when they get to the closing table and realize they owe more than they thought.
Yep.
So you could say, don't get shocked by your closing costs.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm just write that down just because we can iterate off it.
Yeah.
Don't get shocked or surprised by your closing costs. Now, I need to kind of expand that, right? Because I got your attention, but like, because
Yeah.
why?
I think I would say like there's a hidden fee or there's a hidden cost when you're buying in New York City that nobody tells you about.
So that's a great one. So this would be kind of most people don't know.
Yeah. Because it's true. If you're coming from Texas or whatever, it's your first time, you're like, what the hell is this?
There is a hidden cost
And it's not that it's hidden. It's just
I know.
Yeah.
To buy a home in NYC, right?
Yeah.
That's a great hook.
Great.
Most people don't know that there's a hidden cost of buying a home in New York City.
Yep.
And then you would tell the story, right?
Yep.
Perfect.
Let's go into the building, the engineer's reports, building approval thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say 5 agents this week have called me about their deals blowing up. Isn't that sad? It's Wednesday, and I've actually had 5 calls on this.
That one writes itself. Okay. What's the next topic?
I get a little sassy with parents. Like,
Gifts?
yeah.
Okay.
Like, basically, like, I tell them, like, don't, like, your kid's doing great. Like, don't wait till you're dead for them to take advantage of your, you know.
Okay. Well,
Right.
so
like-
this is encouraging parents to give gifts
Correct.
earlier on to their kids.
Correct.
That's the intent.
Yeah.
So what's the hook?
And here's the hard part is I don't know how we would address this. There's something called an estate transfer within a lifetime, right?
Yep.
So where parents think that they're going to pay a gift tax, but really what they're doing is we call it a gift, but IRS is going to look at it as an estate transfer.
This is
within
the
a lifetime.
story.
Yep.
This is the story. That's the
So
story.
I'm going to say,
So how do you get me there?
I'm going to say, don't get turned off thinking you're going to pay a gift tax or by asking your parents for down payment. There's something along that.
Yeah, let's flesh it out. You're right.
So stop paying rent and ask your parents for a gift.
That's one good one. I like that. And that audience there is the kid, right?
Yep.
So stop paying rent
And ask your parents for a gift.
and ask your parents for a gift. Yep. So what if you did one for the parents?
Yep.
What would be the hook for that?
Don't be afraid to gift your.
Let's go back.
Okay.
Solution, right? The story.
The
solution
estate
is
transfer.
the
Yeah.
solution is you're
Just
not
be-
going to get taxed
Correct.
by giving your kid a gift for a down payment.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. For if they do it the right way. Yes.
So so this is a great example of a solution hook,
Correct.
which is you're just telling them
Just telling you, you're
You're
not
not
going to
gonna
get
get
taxed.
taxed.
Yeah, you're right. Right.
going to get taxed. So you even could say, parents, you're not going to get taxed by giving your kid a gift for a down payment.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
So this is 2 videos. We should do both
Yep. Yeah.
because kids, parents, and the story of each of them is you're going to equip the kids on how to explain, and then you're going to tell the parents, like, this is how it works. And
Exactly.
you can even tie in things like, so this is part of the tie-in to stories is like, hey, parents, you understand that getting into real estate early and riding appreciation can change the course of your financial life forever, right?
And I do a third one for agents.
Oh,
Because
great.
agents don't ever explain it. And like I've had multiple times after I've explained it to the kid and to the parent, guess what happens to my purchase price?
The agent screws it up.
No, the price. But when I tell this, they go back to the agent and saying, "Oh, we were only going to give $30,000. We actually have $200,000 to give. Let's increase the purchase price." So it's great. So I would say
So
for
what's
the
your
agents,
what's your agent hook?
like, and it kind of thinking it out loud, like the agent can get a higher purchase price by getting a gift from the parents.
So this would be let me show you how to get a higher purchase price.
Yeah. By getting a gift from the parents. The biggest concern, and then I can go into the story. The biggest concern is, so like that's a 3-prong approach for that one.
So on this one, I would tell you that you don't even need to add the disclaimer on this. Let me show you how to get a higher purchase price, etc. And then you can go, here's the story.
Yeah.
A lot of our clients get gifts from their parents.
Correct.
But what they don't realize is the parents think this is a taxable event.
Exactly right.
And then bang, 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 bang.
Yep.
So you don't even have to put that in the hook. You can just say, let me show you how to get a higher purchase price. Let me show you how to sell homes that are worth more. Or whatever, let me show you how to earn a bit of a commission
Yeah.
check.
And that's the thing is like they're all like concerned about, they don't want to go over $1 million, but you kind of have to
Yeah.
in certain markets. So
Is there another one now? Because there's 3. Any pressing other ones that are on your mind right now?
kind of hit most of them. For me, it's just
These are good.
The
Because this
pre-approval.
is 3 videos, 4, 5, 6 videos.
Yeah.
That's plenty. Good to go?
I'll do more.
Let's make some videos first. All right, bam. And scene. We did it. You did it.
I'm impressed. You are a machine.
Well, so David, like at the end of this, what I like to do is like get your honest feedback for people that are trying to do something similar with their strategies. They're trying to learn, they're trying to get better, they want to evolve, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so, did you have, I know you've seen some of these before, but did you have much expectation coming into this? What were your thoughts before we started?
I was very nervous coming in because
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a like tear you down. This is what you're not doing, right? Which if I've seen, you internally, you scary.
You scary.
I was like, shit, I don't have the right microphone. But at the end of the day, like what I'm realizing right now is like I have a real baseline plan in place.
Yeah.
You kept mentioning whiteboard. I was like, I actually do want to have a whiteboard just so I can see it visually.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person that I'm gonna go after it.
Yeah.
And I want to start slow. I'm gonna slowly start all the other platforms and start, kind of divvying up how I do my content. And when I'm shooting for 1 hour, I'm going to start putting, 10 minutes towards LinkedIn, 10 minutes towards YouTube. I'm going to start doing a little bit more categorizing and just have a little bit more intent on what I'm doing. Because right now I'm just kind of like swinging. Like everybody in our business, we're just swinging with our eyes closed. And now I'm like, all right, let's start holding back the punches and shoot when we need to.
One of my favorite things about you in general is that it's hard for you not to be you. and I really believe that. I think that's a superpower. I think it's like, you're not faking it. You just come in and the things that you value are how you express and how you live. And the excitement for me is to watch you just continue to expand that reach.
Yeah.
I always fall back on this belief that the more people that get a chance to get to know you, the real you, the more people will come into your ecosystem, will come into your sphere of influence, and the more people you're going to be able to change and hang out with.
Yeah.
And so it's really just a game of unleashing David out into the world.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Be scared.
Be
very scared.
But the best part about it is you're naturally a people person. You naturally value connection, and that's the kind of stuff that's going to take you really far in your life and in your career to do the big things you want to do. Because you can only do it like through people. That's it. I mean, I used to hate the phrase that life is a group project. But
it's true.
It is.
Yeah.
And so your ability to continue to love on people, expand your reach, serve, help, bring some humor and some levity, but also get shit done, like perform and execute, because your trade. Even when we sat down and did the content creation thing on the whiteboard, like what you're talking about. You're a master of the profession. But at the same time, you're not afraid to have fun and like bring some light to the world, which is great. It's a good compliment to each other. So what stood out for you the most in all the stuff we covered today?
When we talked about local, right? Like that's something that we're doing, all of us are doing every single
Living
day,
it.
whether it's a dog walk, whether or whatever, like there's something that we do every single day and that we take pride in, right? My golden morning is going to my coffee shop. And the fact that I could actually engage that and have like a cute like marketing huddle or something with my agents at the same time, and they get to see me without perfectly coiffed hair.
Bro,
like
let's talk about hair.
Like I just think that is gold to me, and that's gonna make me want to continue. Like a lot of times we feel like we have to rush to the office and do these things, but now I can actually take the things that I love to do on a daily basis and expand it to be work, or as I like to call it, revenue generating.
Yeah.
And if it's revenue generating, it doesn't matter what the cost is. It means I have freedom to do it.
I want everyone to hear this frame again, so I'm going to repeat it back to you because it is so game-changing. Prospecting and marketing, where you're connecting to other people, and you're building relationship, and you're building community, and you're doing things to help their business or your business, or that is money. That translates into business and opportunity.
Yeah.
And the fact that you could say it like that and see it like that should free you up to go attack it more.
Yeah.
And absolutely, like, the money's not in the office. The money's with the people.
Exactly.
Well said. And I, you know what? I hope to watch you record all this and document all this, because then the buzz will be real. The people will be like, want to be a part of it. They'll, even when they weren't there, they'll get benefit from that happening because you documented it and showed it, and that they might as well have been there.
Exactly.
So your reach just keeps going.
Yeah. Well, I just have to say thank you, because I've worked at a lot of places in my lifetime, I should say, and nobody's ever taken a minute to just sit down with me, give me resources, give me one-on-one time, coaching, and like, I wish everyone here could just see the amount of crew that has been helpful today, and either, you know, giving me really good smiles or not so good smiles when I'm filming content.
You.
But I am just indebted. Like, I'm very grateful and thank you. I feel like very moved and changed. So I'm just so appreciative. Thank you.
Well, dude, my last piece of encouragement in any of this is this whole thing is a marathon, not a sprint. Mm-hmm. And it's adding little pieces into the strategy over time. And that's what creates true separation, right? It's not the one time you go to the gym, it's the 100th time. Correct. And so every day that you do the whiteboard and you look at it and you just go, you know what, I'm getting mentally and physically, I can do a little more now. I'll do this newsletter now. Or I got a little more to put in. And then you look back over time and you're like, wow, like this whole trajectory has shifted. Exactly. And look at how much more effective you are. So take it just a step at a time.
Perfect.
And just keep putting yourself out there. I don't know how else to say it. The ability to be vulnerable, because being on camera takes vulnerability.
Yes.
And the ability to share openly and really put yourself out there is what's going to lead you to more and more success, dude.
There's a very famous person that goes by the name of RuPaul, and they say, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love someone else? Can I get an amen?
Amen. Amen. We're going to end on RuPaul. Thank you, brother.
So guess what, agents? Tired of the limited inventory in New York? Most buildings are going to require at least 10% down. Let's break into the next tier by asking their parents for a gift. Shoot me a call and I'm going to give you some better local expertise.
Brand new.